What is going on, everybody? What's happening? We are back on Saturday. Let's go. What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good today. It's a gloomy, rainy Saturday, man. It was a rainy Friday, and it just carried over today on the East Coast. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? We make the best of it. Salute to everybody. Thank you. Blessed to be up another morning, having my Saturday cup of Joe or Joanne, Good stuff. Anyway, hope you guys are doing good. Appreciate y'all as always. Salute to Fabian Williams. I appreciate you. Salute Pudge Nice. What's good, man? Julian Blum, what's happening, brother? Always good to see you. Shaw Powers. Put you guys up there. Give y'all a little love that way. Yes, sir. Shaw Powers, the one and only. What's good, y'all? Delano, what's happening? Good to see you, brother. Osaduke, what's happening? Yeah, man, that's it's another great day to be here, man. Great day to be here. We got a lot going on this weekend. We got Mother's Day tomorrow, so that's gonna be crazy. Mothers always get the love. Fathers is like, mothers get the love, man. So definitely salute to everybody. Visions, what's happening? Angel Torres, what's good? The man, the myth, the legend himself, Jay Boogie. What's happening? Appreciate you. Good morning, Sherwin. Always good to see you. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, the coffee's good today, man. Woof. Yeah, man. I'm definitely happy to see another one, man. So thank you guys for being here to share in this with me. And I'm glad you guys are all here. So appreciate y'all. One of the things that I've been noticing is I've mentioned this before, especially I talk about it a lot on the NBA report on the Nothing But Knicks network, because we talk about, a lot of the other teams in the NBA. These NBA playoffs have to be, I don't know if it's just me because I haven't been watching the playoffs too often. They seem really excited, man. I've been having a really good time watching these games. And the last couple years, outside of when the Knicks made it that first round, I'm being honest. After the Knicks got eliminated, I stopped watching. And prior to last year, when the Knicks weren't in it, I wasn't really watching. I was hearing people kept hitting me, "Yo, did you see the game last night?" No, I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. So this year has been the first year in a minute that I've really been tuned into these games as much as I can watch. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's been exciting for me. I've been pretty happy. I will tell you one thing that I've noticed is, everybody knows playoff basketball is different. The intensity level is different and all that stuff. But the other thing about playoff basketball is guys get used a certain way. So, certain guys you depend on or think, some guys, the pressure is a lot. Their shots not falling, things of that nature. Things don't happen the way you expect them to happen. The other thing is like the coaches and the team itself, because it's the playoffs and these games mean something. When they got a hot hand, they try to go through that hot hand. If you've been averaging 20 something points for them, right, and your shot ain't really rocking, but there's another dude on the team who's hitting in the playoffs, they use those guys because they're trying to win games. They ain't trying to get you, watch you go into a 4 for 20 slump. They ain't dealing with they ain't dealing with all that. So Yeah, I think that's interesting. Watching the playoffs and how these teams be using their personnel. It's Akuma, what's good? Good to see you, Kareem Grant, brother. It's me. What's happening? Okay, let me do this. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing that I was noticing, man. I was noticing that these games are definitely a lot more intense. That's a given, but it's just interesting to watch how they use their personnel and how they play the hot hand. So kind of reminds you of old school Tom Thibodeau basketball. Not saying it's right. And all the teams don't, doesn't reflect the same because these teams that are, doing this have better offenses than the Knicks have. They run better schemes and better sets, so it's not the same. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up real quick. Now, the one thing about what's going on with the Knicks right now, we know it's real quiet, right? There's just all we have to do is speculate on what we think might or might not happen. And I want to go over a couple possibilities out there, some trade rumors and things of that nature. But one of the things that I really wanted to touch on today that I wasn't able to really get enough information to touch on is developmental coaching options for the Knicks. I guess it's hard to say who's the best developmental coaching options available because these same coaches, some of them are, possibly in line or want to be in line for head coaching opportunities. So I found that very hard when I was trying to do research and get some information on who would be a good developmental coach that the Knicks can bring in to replace guys like Mike Woodson and guys like Kenny Payne. But the other thing about it too is I don't necessarily know exactly what Kenny Payne and Mike Woodson's role was with the Knicks. We know they were assistant coaches. We know Kenny Payne was quote unquote a highly touted big man coach. But I mean, I don't know if that was, specifically his role or if he did something else. So I'm going to do a little bit more research, a little bit more digging. So maybe by next week's show, I have something put together so that we can kind of break that down a little bit because the Knicks have to kind of, one, they got to overhaul some of these vets that we have on the team and make moves there, right? We have to figure out if some of these young players should still remain here. And then by doing all that, we also got to see what we're going to get out the draft, even if we even get anything out the draft, because there's some people that feel like the Knicks are going to wind up, if they don't get a good pick, they might just wind up trading the pick to see if they can get assets somehow or, towards an asset. So we'll see. To me, it's a guessing game. We have no clue. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try to work on that, guys, and see if I can put something together to give us a look at the type of coaches that we might be able to bring in to replace Woodson and Kenny Payne and whoever else might have left or was leaving between now and, when the new season starts. Because that's the other thing. We don't know who else might be leaving or who the Knicks might move on from. What if Knicks decide to move on from Dice? We still don't know what's going to happen. We still don't know what's going to happen, with the actual staff that they currently have. And then, obviously, we don't really know what's going to take place with Tibbs. I mean, we know he's going to be here, but you know what I mean? We don't know for how long. If things don't look like they start, if things don't get off to a good start, we may be talking about that too. So we'll see. And that's interesting that you said that, Pudge. That's that actually I wouldn't be. That's not far fetched. The way the Knicks move and what they're trying to do, even if honestly, there's nothing really wrong with that because he was a smart, heady type player. He may not have had the skills that some other guys had, but he knows how to play the game. And most of these coaches, I mean, a lot of coaches in the NBA have never even played the game. I mean, you know what I mean, on a professional level. So that doesn't really matter. Now, of course, it does, it does set things up for them to go after his son, of course. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not ruling it out. I think you might be onto something there. What is this? You know what? Rather than me diving into everybody's questions and or takes, let me hit the intro. We'll be right back after I blaze the saddles with the intro. All right, stay tuned, guys. Yes, we are back. So I want to get into breaking down some of what you guys are talking about, as well as what the pieces of the show that I want to hit on. Also, I got a special treat today. I'm gonna drop a really hot fire song, man. I was listening to it and it kind of it made me think a lot, and I love songs that make me think and put me in a place where I feel something about something. And this is definitely a special one. So I'm gonna put that up shortly. We got a nice song from Jay Boogie. You guys know Mother's Day is tomorrow, so this is a special song I'm gonna put up in there in a little bit. But in the meantime, I definitely want to touch on some of the stuff that you guys are talking about. Let's see. Sherwin says, let's keep it real. We are not a rebuilding team. We have some pieces. Our young talent are not as good as the fans are saying. We need to upgrade it. The 2-position, point guard and small forward. I can agree with that. I don't know if I can say that we're not a rebuilding team. I mean, it depends on what you're saying. Are you saying that we are steps ahead of rebuilding because we already have some pieces that are better than what you would see on a rebuilding team that's starting from scratch? Is that what you're trying to say, Sherwin? Because I could agree with that. I mean, what they put together makes it seem like we're not necessarily doing a full rebuild, but rebuilds come in all shapes and form, fashion. So, and there was some confusion last year between what we thought the team was, what the front office made it seem like they were, and then what Tibbs was doing. So I don't know. Maybe this year is going to be a lot more clear. Maybe the distinction between the two last year was just too muddied, and now they're going to make it clear as to what the direction is. You heard Leon Rose with his press conference, his end of year stuff, saying, we're still sticking with the plan, blah blah blah, all this, and this. So it makes it seem like it's still the same vision that we thought it was. However, it didn't show. We didn't see that on the court. So I don't know. I hear you though. Akuma said playoffs where names are made in the league, stars can be made or stars can be lowered on the ranking poll. Agreed. Yeah. Oh, Suzuki, I saw that, man. Listen, I'm happy for Frank Ntilikina, but you guys know it, man. You guys got to admit, Frank doesn't do anything out there. Like I saw Frank come in the game a couple times in the playoffs, and I didn't see him do anything, so I couldn't tell you. Last night he came in the game, and I saw him pick up like 2 or 3 fouls. Like that was what he did. I don't know. And I know it's tough for a guy like that who hasn't really shown much. It's tough to build your confidence, and it's tough to be in a rhythm, especially for a guy like that who isn't the best skilled offensive player to begin with. So when you're taking time away from him, not giving him a rhythm, he's even worse. Like, what do you expect him to do? I know they didn't put him out there for his offense. They put him out there to give them. I mean, he's got length, and he's a pretty good defensive player. But the one thing about Ntilikina is I also feel like his defense is not as good as it was when he first came into the league when the Knicks first got him. I feel like that's regressed too. So I don't know, man. I'm happy that he's still in the NBA because honestly, I think Frank is the type of player that would be out of the NBA by now. I think he would be overseas by now, and probably have a better basketball life in that fashion. He'd probably be happier. He'd probably get recognized more, have more accolades, and he'd probably contribute to his team. So I wouldn't be surprised if Frank is not around too much longer in the NBA. Kareem says, I don't really care to watch the playoffs since our New York Knicks ain't in it. It's hard to watch better teams flourish while ours are on the sidelines due to our coach. Okay. I understand that. And honestly, the reason why I watch it is because I haven't been watching it for years, but also I'm really watching it to see how these teams move and act in the playoffs so that I could better understand what type of team this Knick team is and can be. Or, like I'm really, as a fan, I think I'm watching it, because I just want to see basketball. But as a person who's a content creator and has a platform, I think I'm watching it too so I can better understand what's going on with these teams and how it can affect my team. I think that's, it's twofold. Sherwin says trading Randall to make room for Obi is taking 5 steps backwards. IQ is not a starter on a winning NBA team. All due respect, Sherwin, I don't know if we can say that yet. IQ has not proven that he is a starter yet, but he also hasn't been given the opportunity to do that yet and play free. I say that in the terms of this team was put out there in a certain way with, Randall being the go-to guy, RJ being a supplemental piece, because don't even say that RJ was supposed to be the number 2, because when we made our moves in the offseason, they brought in Fournier and Kemba. And if anybody was going to be a number 2, it had to be one of those guys, especially the fact that Kemba is the first quote-unquote true starting point guard we've had in a while. Derrick Rose is a point guard, but he doesn't start for us really. So he actually comes off and plays better with the bench. So I don't want to put him in that. That's why I'm saying it in that way. So when you think about it, I said this many times early in the season, RJ was relegated to the 4th option in the beginning of the season. As time went on, we saw how that changed. But yeah, I don't know if you can say that, man. Look, I'm not going to be wishy-washy. I'm going to call it as I see it. Did I think IQ was the answer at point guard? No. Do I think he has the best court vision? I don't. Do I think he's the best at breaking down his defender to get to the rim? I don't think so. I think he has some speed and it allows him to get past guys on a given, different circumstances. But his dribble way of doing things, I don't love it. However, you got to give credit where credit is due because these dudes work, man. I'm here watching them, okay? Because they did something to get themselves in the NBA, and you can't downplay guys' effort and what they do. They work hard. And IQ is a gym rat. RJ's a gym rat. Obi's a gym rat. These guys are in the gym all the time. you got to give them credit. If they do things and they get better at something, you gotta acknowledge. Just like when I rip him when he's doing bad and I don't like what he's doing and he's dribbling all over the place and he doesn't keep his head up and he's missing guys that are wide open. When he changes things up and he starts playing better, I got to give him credit. So IQ is playing better. Towards the end of the season, he started to improve. The more time you gave him, the better he got. And he started to be a little bit better of a facilitator. He started to see guys better. Of course, we know he got triple doubles. But you know what I mean? Like, I look at that like he's getting better. I still don't think he's the ideal point guard that I want for this Knicks team, but I want somebody like, I want a flashy dude, man. I want somebody going to break you off the dribble, might dunk on you, might lay it up jelly style. You know what I mean? I want hey, that's what I want. But I can understand that there's different levels of point guards. And listen, if we get one that's turns out to be really solid and understands the game and can shoot, because remember, a lot of times this Knicks team over the years always had a point guard that could do certain things, but they couldn't shoot. We had point guards that couldn't shoot. At least quickly can shoot. So, and that gives them that dynamic. Like the defense has to, they have to respect that. And that allows him to learn how to be a better point guard and do things on the court. So we'll see. I know that was a little long-winded, but I just wanted to put that out there that even though I've questioned IQ for most of the year, I'm also going to give him credit when I see that he is improving. So I don't know if the Knicks made him a starter and the offense was carried out a certain way, if he wouldn't succeed. I don't know. Now, the whole thing about trading Randall to make room for Obi is taking 5 steps backwards. I don't agree with that either, because do I think Obi is going to be a superstar power forward? No. Do I think he's going to be a star power forward? I don't know that either. But do I think he can be an adequate, a pretty good, power forward / small forward if he learns how to play a little better on defense for this team? Yeah, I think he can. And I think the Knicks can use him. You don't got to have a superstar at every position. You just have to have guys that have smart IQ and can do something to help and impact the game. So if you put Obi out there and he's a willing passer and he picks and chooses his spots, and then you build around guys like RJ, and if Cam comes into his own, because I think Cam's got 1 year. I think next year is Cam's year. If Knicks decide to keep him, next year is the year where we're going to see what he is, and if not, they're going to move on from him. And they may move on from him anyway, because he's such a, still a trade asset. But I think that's what we're gonna see. We're gonna see how these guys can be used, and if it's something that works for our team. But I don't think Obi's necessarily taking 5 steps back. I just think it's different. It's not going to be as easy as it is with Randall, because when Randall's playing good basketball and he's not in his head, Randall's a good player, man. He does a lot for this Knicks team. Just that we don't know if we're ever going to see that Randall again for the Knicks. Send him somewhere else. I think he'll ball out because he won't have the same pressures, won't be thinking about this Knicks fan base. So, all right. You see what I'm going, though. Kareem said Woodson was the yang to the Tibbs Ying. I agree. Pudge thinks they're going to trade the pick. I think it's a high possibility. I think the only way the Knicks don't trade the pick is if Andy, I'm going to give shout outs to Andy every time I reference this. If, how Andy mentioned that the Knicks have a good shot, not a good shot, but they have like a certain percentage, I don't know what it was, of getting the top 4 pick. I mean, a shot is a shot. Anything can happen, right? If somehow the Knicks get in that top 4, I think they keep the pick. I mean, I almost am for sure they keep the pick unless they trade it for someone like Donovan Mitchell, because that is a way for the Knicks to be able to trade for Donovan Mitchell without giving up RJ and stuff like that. So, but I think you're right, Pudge. I think they might actually trade the pick, because I think the other thing about this team is that we've got a lot of young talent, and quite frankly, I don't know how much young talent they want. Like, we got a lot of young talent, so I don't know. Some people might say we want better young talent. So if you're able to get somebody like a Ben Mathurin, but I don't think Ben Mathurin, if the Knicks get the 11th pick, I don't think Ben Mathurin's going to be there at 11. So, you know. Sherwin says players put in the work and in develop. Lazy players never develop. We must stop blaming a coach for developing. Coaches will never make players dribble or shoot better. True. But it depends on who you're talking about. Because I know you cannot say that IQ's lazy. You definitely can't say that Obi's lazy. And those are two of the key people. Well, no, not IQ, because Tibbs played IQ all year. But Obi, for example, Obi's not lazy. Obi not only balled out in the summer league, he gave up his whole summer and just went to Westchester and practiced and just ran drills with IQ. That's not a lazy dude. Obi also said when he came to the Knicks, he said that he takes real pride in doing the drills and he likes finishing first in the drills. That's not a guy who's lazy, and that's a guy who deserves to play. And Tibbs didn't play him. Tibbs ruined his confidence. And then at the end of the season, Obi stuck it in his face and showed him, look, you know, I'm not Randall, but I'm Obi. You play me, I'm going to do something. And he did something. We can't take stuff away from Obi, even if the competition who the Knicks were playing towards the end of the season wasn't the best. Obi was doing it no matter who they played against in those last few games. So you can't blame him. He just needs a chance to be out there playing. And I honestly don't think he can play on the same basketball court at the same time as Randall. They need to be separated. But we'll see. It's me says the best thing that could happen to us is Randall to Portland for Simmons and their pick. Yeah, well, that's never going to happen, but I would love it. I would love it. And I think Simons, Anthony, right? Yeah, I would love that. Sherwin says Rick Brunson is coaching a top 5 high school and the number 1 player in next year's class. Saturday morning Knicks. I like that. Sherwin says high school is where a coach can make a player dribble better, dribble drills, and shooting drills. Yeah, that's true. It's true. That's where you really start to develop, where your development begins. Pudge says move RJ back to shooting guard. We'll see. Like, I would love to do that if the Knicks don't go out there and get them somebody. But obviously, if the Knicks wind up with a Donovan or somebody of that nature, RJ is most likely going to be stuck at small forward. Subliminal, what's going on, brother? IQ's handle got tighter as the year went on. That's true. That is true. Sherwin says, we have the pieces. We are 2 players from being a top 5 team in the East. Now, here's the funny thing. Some people might laugh at that, but Sherwin's not wrong. We are not. We saw when you were watching the Eastern Conference standings. There's a lot of parity in this league, and you saw the Knicks were in it for a lot of the year until they were officially out of it, and they weren't even playing good basketball. Had we been playing some of our young guys that we think can play, like Obi more, and had Tibbs been better at using the rotations and making substitutions when the Knicks didn't have it, when certain players weren't doing the right thing, and had we made better decisions down the stretch in fourth quarters of games, with this particular team itself, we could have been better and in contention. We could have been maybe fighting for the 7th seed. So the fact that Sherwin says with 2 other players, I can see that. That's true. I'm not saying we would be the best and a top contender, but we could definitely, yeah, that's not a false statement. I hear you. Mm-hmm. That's true too. And that also is true. Last year was an overachievement. Because if you look at it, as people like to point to, Knicks struggled for a lot of the year, and then they got hot and went on a hell of a streak. You take that streak out, and then definitely take out that 9-game winning streak. This team would be similar to last year's team. Not as much, excuse me, not as much. They'd probably still be a little better. Get some of this coffee. But yeah, they would be similar. You're right. That streak helped us. That streak was everything for the Knicks. Okay. Sherwin says if we had a point guard this year, we would have won 10 more games. Okay, I agree. Jay Boogie says one thing for sure, we are not far off. I'm with you on that. Frank will be back. Where? For who? Cut it out, Pudge. Subliminal said, I laughed when Frank said he was a dog. Yeah, he's a poodle. Sorry, Frank. Frenchie. We need wing defenders. Yeah, Julian. Unfortunately, that's. You talk about Nick. People have been saying Knick fans and the Knick organization overvalues their talent. Yeah, we did it then. We definitely did it then. And that's what I get mad with the scouting. You know, it's one thing to pick Porzingis, okay, but to pick Frank when there was other players out there that we could have got. You know who was in that Ntilikina draft? We picked him, I think, at 7, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, 7 or 9, whatever. You guys know what it was. But who was out there after him? It's horrible. Horrible. And then even the pick that people wanted us to pick, which we wound up still getting him, and I still think he's trash. And that's the thing, man. Like, the scouting department for the Knicks got to do better. They got to do. I think they're doing better, but they got to do even better. Like, you can't do this, man. You can't pass up on guys like a Donovan Mitchell or a Shea Gilgeous. You can't do that. Can't do that, man. Yo, Jay Boogie, you ain't right. And you ain't lying either. That's a fact. He is just out there wearing sneakers and headbands. Oh, man. What? Yo, don't say that, Pudge. Come on, man. Cut it out, bro. I ain't going to go that far, Sherwin. I ain't going to go that far. But we would have been a better team. I'm off of the 50 burger for our New York Knicks. Until they go out there and do something different, that 50 burger talk is done for me. I'm going to have to put that in, right? Put that with my 6-shooter. I'm not bringing that up no more. Walter Blackman Jr., what's good? Salute. You feel the Knicks should not trade for Brunson. Okay. Listen, there's a lot of people that are still not happy with this whole Jalen Brunson thing. I get it. And, my co-host John is not a big fan of the whole Brunson thing either. And honestly, it's weird to watch Brunson. Last night was a real good indication of what you love and don't love about Brunson. In the beginning of the game, he struggled a little bit. And let me tell you, you could see how his size was affecting what he was doing on the court. Like, he looked like he was so small compared to these other guys. He was trying to get into the lane. He couldn't do anything. They were affecting his shot. And then I was looking at it, I was saying, wow. So he's had a tough series so far. And then now he's looking real small out there. And this is our concern. But then Jalen Brunson decided to get busy. Like, he got real physical he's pushing Chris Paul around. And, guys, I know you guys, we're Knick fans. That grit and the way he was acting kind of gave us that New York vibe, man. I ain't going to lie to you. I was looking at it, I was like, damn, this guy got a little New York in him. He definitely got a little of that because he was real aggressive, yo. And the way he was pushing Chris Paul around, I was like, huh. And the refs were like, you could tell it's playoff basketball because he was giving them forearms and stuff and moving them off, and the refs wasn't calling nothing. I was like, they never let these guys play like this in the season. That was interesting. And he was doing what he had to do, I was so surprised at how Chris Paul was playing yesterday. I don't know if it was because of his birthday. I don't know what happened, bro. I don't know if Father Time called him for one day, because he turned 37 yesterday. But yeah, Brunson was getting busy. He was having his way. And that's the type of thing that, as much as I want to be, I want to be with you guys and say, there's certain things about Brunson that I would wish were different. I wish he was 2 inches taller. Yeah, okay, I'm with you. But he's not. But he's still a good player. And when he wants to, you could say when Luka Doncic is not on the court or he's hurt and he's out, Brunson gets busy. That's without a fact. I haven't seen many games where Luka's not there and Brunson hasn't done what he needed to do to help the team. Brunson usually gets busy. The only issue that I notice sometimes with Brunson and with the rest of those Dallas Mavericks, but they don't have a lot of talent right now to begin with, but the rest of those guys don't really look to be lead scoring options. They all defer to Doncic. So the way Doncic wants to play is how they play off of him, right? And I think out of everybody they have on that team that's available for them now, Brunson is the one guy that can go get his no matter what on that team. It's just that sometimes he defers to Doncic and they run through Doncic. So how Doncic plays, because Doncic is smart. Let me tell you, I've been watching Doncic this past series, man. Doncic can get it. We know that, he's a star in the league. He might be overhyped a little bit because they think he's the second coming of whoever. But this guy, man, he kills these guys, man. Inside, outside, he does whatever he wants in the court. So I can understand how his team kind of lets him do his thing. And what Doncic usually tries to do, he tries to get his guys off early, and then he takes over. But once he takes over, that's the problem because, now you're watching. So, I hope you're wrong, but I wouldn't put it past Leon. What's good, Steph? How you doing? Good to see you. Dope Soul Sports Talk is in the building, y'all. If you haven't already done so, definitely, go subscribe to Steph's channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. That's Steph from the Queen's Court. Y'all should already know that by now. But if you're new, Steph from Queen's Court on the Nothing But Knicks channel has her own channel now called Dope Soul Sports Talk. Definitely go check it out. Just type that into your YouTube and subscribe. I won't steer you wrong. It's great content. Pudge says Brunson been going off. That's a fact. Subliminal, there's disgruntled stars and role players in the playoffs we can be scouting too. Agreed. And the worst thing is that some of these players that look good in the playoffs, you ain't never gonna get. They look good to you. Imagine how they feel, their own team feels about them. Because I always held out some hope, a little hope that maybe we could somehow figure out a way to get Jordan Poole. Warriors ain't never letting that kid go, and nor should they. Maybe the Knicks can figure out a way to get a guy like Brandon Clark. Really good role player type, some athleticism, knows how to score in the paint. That would be nice. That would be nice. We'll see. Sherwin says, I was up after 12 watching the playoffs. Brunson might score, but he is far from the answer. Like I said, he may not be ideal, but if you get him, doesn't mean you're going to be disappointed, Sherwin. The only thing that we worry about with Jalen Brunson, let's be honest, guys, people don't think he's the ideal pick for the team. We don't love his height. And some people don't feel like he's a starting point guard, but he hasn't showed you that he's not, because when Luke is not there, he balls out. So you can't say that he can't be that. Only thing you can say is you don't love his height. He's not athletic, and his price tag may be too high. But if the Knicks brought in, if the Knicks were able to bring in Jalen Brunson for 15, 16 million, and he does what he's been doing for Dallas, would anybody be mad? No, find somebody who'll be mad. Don't worry, I'll wait. Tell me who's going to be mad if he comes in doing what he's been doing for Dallas and he's making 15 or 16 million. Nobody's going to be mad. All we really concerned about is the fact that he's not the ideal person that we look for on the team to run point, because he's not the greatest facilitator. But then again, we don't know that either, because Luka dominates the ball. So we don't know if Jalen gets more opportunities, more touches, and how the team plays off of him. And that we don't know. We don't know. And his price tag may be just a little too damn high. So, a point guard job is to calm the team down. IQ, if anything, is the opposite. He looks for his own shot first. A point guard's job is to make his teammates better. IQ doesn't have that in his game. He may not have that right now, Sherwin, but that doesn't mean he can't get it. That's the one thing I can tell you, that after watching years and years of basketball, and Sherwin, I know you've watched a lot of basketball as well. Excuse me. We've seen guys who don't play the position the same way who are very successful. Andre Miller is one of the slowest point guards. He was one of the slowest guys I saw out there. Nothing flashy, nothing athletic, but Andre Miller was a really good point guard. Of course, I know he had great court vision. I got it. But that doesn't mean that's something that IQ can't work. The one thing you can't tell me about IQ is that he can't do it. I always say he doesn't do it because I don't see certain things that I'm looking for. But I do see, as the season went on, he got a little better at certain things. So I'm not going to say he can't do it. I'm just saying, if you wanted a guy to come in right now and do it right now, he's not that guy yet. So I got to give him some time. We'll see. Cuban is going to pay Brunson. I agree. I don't think they're going to let him walk. And you already see that Cuban does not want to do a sign and trade when it comes to Jalen Brunson. And really, when he's saying that, I feel like he's talking to the Knicks. I think, the consensus is this whole Jalen Brunson, Rick Brunson connection with Leon Rose. I think that's like, they know the Knicks are the top suitor, and Mark Cuban's gotten fleeced by the Knicks a lot. And it's not like we got so much more from them that turned out better for us, but they just got the worst end of the deal. So salute to movies and stuff. What's going on? He says we need to see RJ Barrett is not the dude and don't pay him max money. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because the one thing about RJ Barrett movies and stuff is that you already know what he can do, right? And what he can do is good. Now you also know what he can't do, But since he's 21 and is still young, he has time to improve on it. So what happens if after this season, RJ says, you know what? And he already kind of said a little bit on the show with the hell's his name? Shoot. JJ Redick. Yeah. The man in the three, the old man in the three, whatever it's called. He already said a little bit of it there, that what he wants to improve on and how he wants the Knick team to become his, like he wants to be the man on the team. And he's going to continue to work on stuff. If RJ goes into this offseason and works on his free throws, I think he was shooting around 68%, something like that. I don't know. It was kind of bad. If RJ brings that free throw shooting up to 75%, 75, 76, that's a really good clip and a really big jump for him. If he can do that, and then he can work on his mid-range a little bit and improve that, and then most importantly, if he can work on his layups and finishing at the rim, RJ will be a problem next year. And then we'll have to look at him and say, well, you know what? Maybe he is worth the money. And this is where the Knicks have a problem, because RJ's due for his extension. The Knicks can say, they could play Russian roulette and say, well, we don't know if you're worth this right now. But if RJ works on his game, because RJ works on his game every year, and every year he usually improves on something. This year, skill set wise, I don't know if he improved on anything. Only thing he improved on is numbers. He more scoring, more opportunities, so he scored more points. So if next year he comes in and he actually improves on something, it could backfire on the Knicks if they don't pay him. You know what? He could take that as a slight. And then we wind up losing RJ, and he goes out and gets better. And as I keep saying, I think RJ is going to be a star by the time he's 23 years old. And he'll be on another team, and he'll be balling out, and every Knick fan will be hating the organization. Oh, they should have paid him. And then all of you will forget when you said, well, we shouldn't pay him because he's not the guy. And I'm not saying he is the guy, movies and stuff. And this is not necessarily for you. This is for all Knick fans who think this way. We don't know. It's just he's so young, and our team was not put together the right way. So it all forces us to look at RJ as, okay, well, he's our only bright light. So, but is he ready? This team should not have been this way. We should have had a point guard here. And so therefore that pressure that RJ has shouldn't really be on him as of yet. He's still young. And the stuff that we saw from Julius, that shouldn't have happened either had we had a good point guard. Just the Knicks did wrong by this team, man. Shot Powers, I agree. We're saying all this after OB second season and IQ second season. These young guys need time. I agree. Randall came off of a season 20-10-5 and 18th best defensive player in the NBA. He was also the second best defensive power forward. Can Obi ever do that? The 18th best defensive player in the NBA? Probably no. Could he become a better defensive player than he is and plays good team defense? I don't see why not. The whole point is to be active and not a sieve out there, not a turnstile. Let your guy just go right past you. Being able to affect the shot, maybe get a steal or two, maybe get a block or two, get rebounds, defensive rebounds and things of that nature, but just be a presence. Don't just stand there and let guys go past you. If he does that and he is, learns how to play good help defense, I'm okay with that. Now, when you say the whole 20-10-5, I got some news for you, Sherwin. If you play Obi Toppin 25 to 30 minutes a night, I think Obi can give you 18-8 and 5 or even 6, because I think Obi is a good passer. I think Obi moves the ball well. So I don't doubt that Obi can give you 18, 8, and 6 or 18, 8, and 5. I think he can do that. I'm just saying. Now, maybe 8 is a little, tough. Maybe 7, okay, because he's not the greatest rebounder. He can get rebounds, but, I'm not going to take anything away from Julius Randle. Julius Randle is a really strong rebounder. He's a good rebounder. Pudge Nice said, like Freezy said, 10 young guys ain't playing. Agreed. Robert Bruce, what's good? Knicks need a dominant big man like Patrick Ewing. Yeah, those are hard to find, man. And even, I'll be honest with you, it's even less now, man. Really, when you look at big men, it's Cat, it's Embiid, and it's the Joker. Because there's other guys that are on the fringe. I don't want Miles Turner. I don't care about Miles Turner when it comes to his game. I don't trust it. I'll be honest with you. I don't trust it. He's a 7-footer that's not a good rebounder. Come on. Why do I want that on the Knicks? That don't help us. He might be able to. He's a streaky 3-point shooter. He started off the season really hot. He had great stretches, and he killed the Knicks too. He had one of those moments, right? But then you watch the rest of the season. That 3-point shooting went down, 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 and then he got streakier. I'm not sold on a guy like that. And then another good example of a guy who's on the fringe that I don't trust anymore, DeAndre Ayton for Phoenix. Now, DeAndre Ayton gives Phoenix something, but even, he's not – his game is kind of funky too. Like, I watch him out there, and he should be dominating some of these. He had Max Kleber on him last night, and he can't do nothing against Max Kleber. Come on, man. Come on, DeAndre. And that's the reason why Phoenix didn't give him his extension yet. It's still up. Like, I mean, I'm sure they got some money restraints that they have to consider, but I'm sure they're looking at DeAndre Ayton like, he's not that giving. He's good, and he's better than most, but I don't know, guys. What's good, White Falcon? Salute. A-Train, what's good? JJ. Yeah, man. You can't tell me that 9th inning that the Mets had. I know there's a lot of other baseball fans in here that may not be Met fans, or they may be Yankee fans. First off, if there's any Yankee fans in here, good for y'all. Yankees have surprised me, because I thought the way they started off their season and with everything that's been going on with the rules and the baseballs and how things have been, I thought they were really going to struggle. But good for them. They turned it around. That Yankees team is a solid team. Good for them. But I'm on cloud 9 with these New York Metsies, man. They got a little something. They got that never say die attitude. They remind me of like the 86 Mets, when the Mets were never out of a game. And in fairness, they remind me of the 90s Yankees, where the Yankees were never out of the game in the 90s. They were tough to beat. So it's a fun time right now for baseball. What's good, Marvin? Good to see you, brother, as always. Let's see. Infamous New King, what's good? He said, don't disrespect the Poodles like that. I know what you mean, brother. Yeah. Frank needs to get that dog stuff out of his mentality. Yo, man, put me in the scouting department. I'll take it. I want that check. But I'll also get some people that might be pretty good, man. And I can play with them. They'll kill me, but at least I'm 6'5". I can run around with them, and I can watch them on the court. Is there any way we can get Reggie Bullock back? I don't know. And I'll be honest with you guys. If they said we bringing Reggie Bullock back next year, I wouldn't be mad. Okay. I wouldn't be mad, man. Reggie played defense, and he gave you that 3. Listen, that's all I need him to do. And now he's even less concerned with being a part of the offense. Like he knows, you catch me in the corner, I'm there. Yo, I wouldn't be mad, bro. I don't know how he'd feel, but I wouldn't be mad. If New York Knicks can't develop, we'll never win a chip. We know no free agents are coming here, and stars get traded where they want develop. I got you. I see you. Yeah, we got to develop our guys. You're right. Subliminal said, Ron, who do you like in the draft around 11 or 14? That is probably the guy that I think a lot of people when they're thinking about the Knicks, because Jeremy Sochan is somebody that a lot of people are starting to look at. He's moving up on people's draft boards, and if he's there when the Knicks pick, I think that's somebody that they have to look at. If they're going to trade the pick, it's one thing, but if they keep it, he might be the guy. And I'm going to hopefully do something in the near future with regards to the draft. And so we'll probably be touching on him as well as a bunch of other players. So look forward to it. It's something we got in the works. So we'll just putting everything together right now. And we'll definitely get deeper into addressing him as well as other guys because there's some guys that have looked a little when you look at them on paper, what they've done in the NCAA tournament, they've crept up. And so what we looked at earlier before the tournament doesn't necessarily hold the same weight. There's some guys that have definitely shown themselves to be pieces that guys should, teams should be looking at. And the Knicks might find a diamond in the rough. Because that's the other thing. Like if we're not able to get what we want in a trade, they have to keep the pick. You got to try to draft the best player available, man. And hopefully you don't miss out. And that's the scary thing. That's why I don't like it's. I know guys say that, you could always miss with a pick. And there's been number ones and number twos and even number threes that have missed. But for the most part, if you do your scouting and look at, put these guys in different situations, I don't know how, I'm not a part of the scouting department, but you can find the right guy in the top 5 usually. Sometimes you will miss, right? But when you pick it like around 11, a chance to miss is high, man. You don't know who you're going to get. You might think, oh, this guy looked great. He had a great interview. Yeah. I mean, look what we did with Kevin Knox. Come on, man. That, stuff like that just upsets me. Makes me feel bad. Hurts me in my soul. Kevin Knox was a fringe rookie player who had a streaky jump shot, had great length, and also had a little explosive athletic ability, a little bit. But what we knew about Kevin Knox did not have great defense. Kevin Knox did not have a high motor. Kevin Knox did not have a great dribble. So you take a look at that, and this is what you already know on paper and what you've seen at Kentucky. Then you bring him in for a workout. He does okay in the workout. And I guess then you bring him in for another workout. I don't know if it was the first or the second. I think it might have been the second workout, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. And I think in that second workout, he was playing against Mikal Bridges. And against Mikal Bridges, he lit Mikal Bridges up. And because of that workout, because they thought Mikal Bridges' defense, they were so high on him, because of that workout, we decided to use that pick on Kevin Knox. After, all the other stuff that I just named, that you still knew with regards to Kevin Knox. I mean, listen, I like the guy. I thought he was a good person. I was a fan of him when he was here because I'm always going to be a fan of our players. But, when you go back and you look at the stuff that we already knew about Kevin Knox, none of that changed. Yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't even bothered to look, but I will at some point. So if anyone knows when the summer league schedule is released, feel free to put it in the chat. Subliminals asking as well as I am. Yeah, because I'd like to know that too. Yeah. Most players are like that. Everyone can't be effective, efficient every night, especially due to size and skill. If a player isn't a tier 1 superstar, it's going to be that off and on mostly. Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Well, you know what? Let me IQJ, what's good? Salute. I see you. Oh man, yo, where you been at, brother? Man, like, yo, I haven't seen Worldwide L in a minute, man. What's going on? Let me put this back in the chat just in case anybody want to join up. But yo, L, man, and congratulations as always, man. I know you be doing the thing with the dog and the competition, and you got a special one over there, man. So salute to you. See, Kaiser Soze. I knew I saw your name. I wanted to say salute to you, brother. Yeah, I agree. He don't want no parts of the Knicks. Yeah, that's it. I'm done with you guys. I think we had a nice relationship, but you know what? I see the writing on the wall. It's not benefiting me. What's good, Soul Finger? Always a pleasure, man. Always good to see you. Drip More, what's happening? Wacko in Brooklyn. Dudes need to stop it. Dallas are pretenders, not contenders. I don't know. I don't know what to say, dude, because every time I start to write Dallas off, Dallas surprises me. And I don't think that Dallas is going to beat Phoenix in a series. But if Dallas has exposed something, because the one thing, listen, guys, look, we're here now. All right. We're finally here. Hold on, let me get that little dust on my camera. Jason Kidd is starting to become a good coach. Okay. We're here now. I've watched some of his things that he's doing out there on the court and some of his adjustments. It looks like it took Jason Kidd a little time to kind of get a hold of it. But Jason Kidd is starting to become a good coach, guys. He's fortunate. He's blessed to have a good player in Luka, but a great player, should I say. But he's improved a lot, man. Jason Kidd, put him back on the Nets. Nets might do some special stuff, but he wasn't ready yet. He was still learning how to be a head coach and all that stuff. Now I think he gets it. I think he's got it, guys. Let me get my man in here. Don P.
Hey, what's good, Ron? How's it going, man?
Chilling, man. Good to see you, brother. I like seeing you. I see you popping up everywhere now, man. It was nice to have you on the show last week.
Comment section everywhere, my G.
Yeah, man. I see you.
Word. What's going on, man? Yo, I'm driving right now, so I don't know if my background is too loud.
No, I don't really hear it. I think it's okay, and you don't have there's no feedback or anything, so you good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I checked out your title or whatever. I don't know if you've seen me in the recent comment sections, but I've been really campaigning for DeAngelo Russell.
Well, you know what? That's good transition, because I was just about to start talking about some of these guys, and DeAngelo, I was going to lead off with him. So yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay. Yeah, so the reason why I've been campaigning for DeAngelo Russell is the last time our Knicks team has, been really successful, besides us making the 4th seed, of course, last year, which in my opinion I think it's a fluke. But the last time we was really good was in the 2013 season. And you know what? We gotta give credit to Jason Kidd for that. As right. As well as Melo, as well as Steve Novak and everybody else. But Jason Kidd, him being a pure point guard, allow us to get into our offense real quick. people easy buckets, easy looks. If you check out some of the series, a lot of players was talking about, Jason Kidd after the games. We would torch them. You know what I mean? And my question to you is, when was the last time we had a point guard who was a facilitator, not a scoring point guard, but a true point guard who was a facilitator that actually made an impact on the game?
Wow, man. I don't know. I think this is something that has come up in the past, and people have mentioned Charlie Ward. That's bad. That's a long time ago. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer, but I know that's what people have been saying. Like Charlie Ward might have been the last guy that we had that was like a point guard.
Right, man. And like I hear a lot of the, what the fans want. I hear a lot of names thrown around like Colin Sexton, what's his name? Jalen Brunson. I get it. Who else? Donovan Mitchell. And I think I told you this last time, but these guards that we want, they ultra aggressive, they dogs, they trying to get their points.
Mm-hmm.
I would dare say that we had that in the past. I don't know if you remember, but Trey Burke had a stretch to where he was getting buckets. Trey Burke had a stretch where he was getting buckets for the Knicks. Alonzo Trier, he's not a point guard, but he played in the point guard position at times for us. He was getting buckets for us. Emmanuel Mudiay, even though that seemed like a cuss in the Knicks organization right now, but he was getting buckets for us.
Right.
You see what I mean? And neither one of those players moved the needle for us. Now we got a young, talented team to where, Cam Reddish can score. He has the potential to score on all three levels. He just needs the same opportunities as RJ. He needs the rock. You got what's his name? Obi Toppin, who's really good on a fast break. He creates mismatches with his speed alone. You know what I mean? So the question is, who's gonna get these players into their offense quick? We all know it can't be no Alec Burks. Emmanuel quickly, that's a viable option. If we want to just stay cheap with it. But besides that, who else can we realistically get who's a phenomenal passer, who's not looking to always get his points?
That's tough, man. It's a good point. And I know the thing about DLO is that people aren't sold on him because he gets, and I think we touched on it because I think you brought up DLO last week. We only touched on it for a little bit. Sometimes he's quiet. Like we know what he can do, and you pointed to the fact of what he did with Brooklyn. But the thing about with Brooklyn, he was kind of like the man there, at least if not number one, he was number two. Like he was able to get his buckets. And for whatever reason, I don't know, he just seems to defer too much in this Minnesota system. And sometimes he's real quiet. Like sometimes he goes out there and he just he chooses to facilitate, which is nothing wrong with that. Get your guys involved, and maybe that's what they need. Problem is, DLO is not your typical hot shooter. He's a streaky shooter. So when he don't get the touches and he don't get the rhythm going, by the time he starts to shoot, he just doesn't have that great touch. So to me, maybe it's just the fact that he's just not taking shots at the right time. Like he should be trying to get himself off early because he knows he's a kind of streaky. And that's how Minnesota should be using him if they feel they need him. Because, Minnesota's been doing pretty good with the personnel they got. But I think if they had really allowed DLO to be more involved in some of these games, they have a better chance. That's me personally. So I hear you, though, and I'm with you that he's definitely somebody that you can't rule out and say is not an option. I just think it's, it's just tough. It's tough to know what you're going to get with him. But I like the idea, like if you can't get anybody else, and because I don't think he's my number one. And I don't even know what my number one is right now. I mean, because that's the thing. Like Donovan is like on a lot of people's, list, but I don't know.
You said a key thing. You said some key things there. You said he was looking to facilitate. You know what I mean? Like so I don't know if you remember that I think it was the 2015 draft, his draft class. I think it was him, DeAngelo Russell, Emmanuel Mudiay. It was Kristaps Porzingis, where we got him, and Karl Anthony Towns. And DeAngelo Russell, he came out. You know, his prospects is if you look at his NBA drafting, he was known as a pass first point guard. That's something that he really wanted to play. He wanted to be a playmaker, a pass first point guard. And when he was like, if you look at him in the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I hear a lot of rumblings that he's a headache and he's giving the coaches problems. Well, you got this dude who wants to facilitate playing the two position. That's like the only other person that I knows who likes to be a playmaker and an on-ball guard is Chris Paul. So can you imagine him? Can you imagine them sticking him at the two position? At 26 years old, you're gonna hear his mouth too. You see what I mean? So it's like, if you're not putting a player in the best position to succeed, especially like to his strengths, because okay, yeah, he got the size to play the two. You know what I mean? Like you said, he's a streaky shooter to where sometimes he could get on a hot streak with his shooting and everything. So I think, okay, this dude is versatile. He's versatile. He could play the one and the two. But in his mind, the way he wants to play is the dying breed of point guards. He wants to play that traditional point guard. He wants to play the traditional point guard. And that's the thing, like you said it yourself, like, instead of like taking over games, which he's capable of doing if he wanted to, he would prefer for everybody else to eat. You see what I mean? And he's adept at giving people easy looks. And so when I think of, again, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, I don't know if Mitchell Robinson is going to be there next season or not. But if he is, Mitchell Robinson as well, then I think it'll change the whole dynamic of the team. We have the worst offensive possessions. Like, we have the slowest offense because we don't have a point guard. We don't have a true point guard. Only person who has showed a potential in that area that we have right now is Emmanuel Quickly. I haven't really watched Deuce McBride in the G League like that, but Emmanuel Quickly for me is the only person who has the potential to do that. But it seems like he only got chemistry with Obi right now. So I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is, I think it's tough, bro, because the Knicks may have been in a situation where they lucked out and they found the point guard of the future, right? I know it's tough to say because, he's still not proven.
Yeah.
But you can't say that it's not something that could happen. Quickly could be the guy. We don't know. Because the one thing that you see, we know when we see Quickly, him and Tyrese Maxey's are almost carbon copies of each other, right? Maxey may be, the way he moves is a little bit, he might be a little better at breaking down and getting to the rim. And I want to say he can be a little bit more aggressive than Quickly, but not much, because Quickly's very aggressive when he wants to be. But I just feel like that's kind of the difference between the two of them. I think they're both very good shooters. But I don't see Tyrese Maxey, especially now that Harden's there. Like, he's more of the off guard guy. So, and Quickly has been still relegated to running the point whenever Tibbs wants him out there. And I think because of that, I think he's starting to learn how to be better at the position. Finally, he's getting it. I don't think he's there yet. He's not all right. If you had a 100% scale, maybe Quickly's at like a 50 or a 60%. There's still a lot of things that he needs to learn about being a point guard in the NBA. But early in the season, I would have said he's like a 30. So I feel like
I'm on the same page with you, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he's getting better.
Right.
And I just think that, if all else fails, you can still be smart about this. If things don't work out the way you see it, you can't bring in one of these number one guys. And what you do is you go out and find the best role players that you can get. that fit the positions of need, right? You get the best point guard role player you can get. That maybe you make him the bench guy. Maybe IQ becomes the starter. You make him the bench guy. Then you go out and get the best wing guy you can get, right?
Right.
And then possibly get a stretch center. You do those three things and keep the same core of guys you got, and allow guys like OB and certain other guys to play, and change up your rotations. This Knick team will be better, and they'll be fine, and they won't have a problem. You'll still be like, okay, maybe they don't have, the closer guy at the point guard position, but they'll have better talent all around, and they'll have smarter guys. Because, like I said, you have a guy who can stretch the floor in a big. You have a better wing defender who hopefully is a smart IQ guy, you would hope. And then maybe that backup point guard guy is a smart IQ type of guy. So that where whatever quickly may still lack, when he goes to the bench, you bring in this guy and you got a true backup point guard. Not bringing in, Alec Burks as your starter, who's not a point guard, and then bringing in quickly, who's still learning how to be the point guard at the backup. You
Right.
put yourself in a better position like that. I just think that they can still make it work.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have no disagreements there. I like Quickly. I do. I like Quickly. I get again. I'm just afraid that the Knicks might pull all their chips in to get a person like Donovan Mitchell. You know what I mean? Like that's my fear right there. The Knicks is known for just making big splash moves, but
Mm-hmm.
I got to give it to the front office. They've been a little bit more. Well, I don't know about these offseason moves, but they have shown signs of being a little bit more reserved with making big time moves. So with that said, man, I like Quickly. I do. If we don't get Russell, I know it's a pipe dream to get Murray, the dude from the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
I like him even better than DeAngelo Russell because of his defense, but I know we're not going to get him. I'm cool with Quickly. You know what I mean? At the very least, he showed up to the lead, and he was actually playing good on defense at the point. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing I
Right.
say about him. And he showed up to the league streaky, real streaky. And whether he's getting better or not, he's getting better on his decision making. You seen it at the end of the season. So,
Right.
I like Quickly. I'm all for letting the kids play. I'm all for building our team up through our youth and just going through the hard pains with them. But I'm also for getting a true point guard over here. We haven't had one since, like you said, Charlie Ward. So that to me is important. Like we keep skipping out on them. I don't know why we keep getting shooting guards masquerading as point guards who's all they want to do is just score, and it's like how everybody else is gonna get theirs. If that was the case, then Kyrie Irving would have been won something in Cleveland before LeBron. He's the pinnacle of that type of point guard, a point guard who could get his bucket.
Right.
So, I mean that's just where I'm coming from with it. That's all.
No, I agree with you. Like that's true. Like that's what it's about, man. Like it's been a long time coming, man. We have not had it. So if the Knicks can finally get it, great, go for it. But understand that may not be the only answer. There may be another way. But
That's
definitely
true.
we need to look at what we got going on. Like there's a need for them to make a move. Just be smart about it. That's all I ask. Just be smart about it. Figure out a way that works. That we can use this moment to capitalize and build something towards making a better team, because this team is struggling like that. And then when you brought up DLO, let me just let me see here, because I want to see, like, because I haven't looked at this in a while, which is what I wanted to do with you guys. I haven't seen exactly what his numbers have looked like in recent times, because it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Okay, there you go. All right, so when he was with the Lakers, remember he came and he was highly touted because in the NCAA tournament, he lit things up. I mean, the guy could score. But, you know, he came in with the Lakers. He averaged 13 points a game. Then his second season, he had 15 points. Then he went to Brooklyn, and he averaged 15 points. But then that next season, that was the 2018-2019 season, he had a jump. And he scored 21 points. He was averaging 7 assists. That's a good young player right there. The next season, he averaged 23 points, and he was averaging 6 assists. Season after that, he was averaging 23 points and 6 assists. Then and that was with Golden State.
Or was he playing the 1 or the 2? Like, was he off ball or on ball?
No, that he was all on ball.
On ball, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that first season with Golden State, you know, being in that system, I mean, 23.6, almost 24 points per game, and he was averaging 6.2 assists. Now, granted, that was the year that the Warriors didn't have anybody. Clay was hurt, Steph was hurt.
Right.
So he was running the show for them. But in a situation where he's got to be the guy, you can see 20, almost 24 points per game and still giving you 6 assists. It is not easy to get 6 assists in the NBA if you're not a point guard. Like, you got to know what you're doing. And he does. So then his first season in Minnesota, he averaged 21.7, almost 22 points per game and 6.6 assists. The next season, and I wonder, I just don't remember. Was 2019 the Tom Thibodeau season? I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look that up. But so then 2020, he had 19 points and he had 5.8 assists. So he took a little dip there for whatever reason. And I wonder if that's because they started to build the talent a little differently over there. And then Cat really started to assert himself more, and he took a little backseat. I don't know.
Right.
And then this 2021-22 season, he averaged 18 points and 7 assists, 7.1 assists. So the highest assist number he's had in the league. So you can see that he's turned into more of a facilitator and taking a backseat scoring wise. So, right. I mean, you know what? I mean, Don P, I'm honestly, bro, like, and then for the rest of the Knick community, DeAngelo Russell might be a sneaky option because he looks like he has kind of changed his game to go with what Minnesota wants. But if you put him in a Knicks system, he might adapt to whatever we need. If we need him to score more, he might be able to do that because you can honestly see he can score. He chooses to whatever, go with what he thinks works best for the team. Let me drop this link again in the chat, and also let me get my man Eddie C in here. What's going on, Eddie?
Yo, what's up? How everybody's doing today, man?
Chilling, bro.
Salute. I just wanted to drop in a little bit before I have to split for work, but I've been listening to you all morning between all the stuff I do in the mornings, man. And it's been a good time, so I'm glad that you're on today.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in about the DeAngelo Russell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree with you that it might be like you say, I think you worded it right when you said sort of a sneaky proposition.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to hold back in the sense of I don't know how he's going to fit in Tom Thibodeau's defensive scheme because we all know that Tom Thibodeau's defense first, and if you're not producing on that side of the floor, there's going to be problems. And he kind of feels to me like a personality, like a personality that if he's not fitting in well, he's not going to produce the way we want him to produce.
Mm.
So in that sense, I just, want to hold back on that. I'm a big proponent of giving IQ the opportunity, at least for the beginning of the season. We still have time to upgrade the team during the trade deadline if things don't work out. But at least at the beginning of the season, since he's been with Thibodeau for the past two years, they've grown together, him and Obi. His defensive abilities have been better. He's been getting better defensively since last year. And I think he turned the corner in a sense where there was a balance between his defense and his offense, because at the beginning of the year, his offense was non-existent. Like, he was having a horrible year. And I think that had to do with him learning the point guard position and him trying to be a better defensive player. But then at the end of the year, it kind of like all came together. So where his offense met up with his defense, met up with his point guard play. And I really want to give him a shot. 6'3" guy who can shoot the ball. He knows the system. He's been with us for a while. I think that's a better position to be in than to bring in somebody new at a really high monetary rate, like a Brunson that's asking for $20 million. I'm not to say that I'm against Brunson. It's just that when I look at the whole thing, not just team, I look at salary cap, I look at monies that has to be paid to other players, I look at things in the future. I think Quickly gets paid $2 million, 2.5 this year and next, and then he has then we're able to pick up his option or extend him.
Right.
So the production to me is gonna be overachieving with his salary, which in the best case scenario is good for us because we have to look at signing RJ Barrett. I'm not a big proponent of bringing back Mitchell Robinson at a 15, 16 point clip unless he wants to stay at 14. I'm okay with 14, but when it gets up to 16, 17, we've seen it in the playoffs how these big money centers who are defensive centers get pushed out the game. And I don't want to have 14, 15, 16, 17 million dollars riding my bench when we need it the most. So, if we're able to build in a different way, if we're getting somebody that is going to help us and we have to pay for that player, I'm fine with that. But if it's a middling type player, if he's not going to take us over the hump and we're just trying to fill in holes, then I think we just have to be more judicious. And I'm pretty sure that Leon Rose does that. So I'm happy with that. That's all I just wanted to say. Just preach a little bit more patience and give these players that we have on our squad a chance, at least until the trade deadline, to show and prove.
Yeah, I would like to respond to the DLO thing real quick. I know he has a reputation for being a bad defender. I can't really defend that. But if you check out his last season, the season that just is passing right now, if you check out his defense through the Timberwolves, not just looking at, well, you can look at highlights or whatever and check out Timberwolves videos, like the fans and the YouTubers within the Timberwolves community. If you check out their videos, they're saying that DLO is one of the, I don't know, it sounds hard to believe given his reputation, but he's one of the best defenders on that team. That's what they're saying.
I know he averages 1 steal a game. He's active when it comes to his hands. I think, the other thing I was going to say, and I didn't think about this before, because, I don't know, maybe certain guys, they go under your radar, so you don't really pay attention to them as much. When you compare D'Lo to De'Aaron Fox, D'Lo might be a better fit than a De'Aaron Fox because he's a better shooter. He's more consistent. He shoots the free throws at a high clip, 80%. And I think from 3-point range, he's around 34%. You know, and the fact that he actually is a better facilitator than De'Aaron Fox. I mean, I know guys, some people in the community were okay with De'Aaron Fox coming in, then some people weren't sold on it. But if I told you that DeAngelo Russell might be better, I wonder how people think about, you know, how he looks in that regard. Because the other thing, guys, is as much as people are throwing names out like Brunson, who is iffy, and then Donovan Mitchell, who's a real slim chance of getting to begin with, if DeAngelo Russell is someone the Knicks can actually get, and say you wind up having to trade Julius Randle, that's how the money could work. You might have to give a you know, maybe another piece in there, you know, for money wise, because DeAngelo makes around 27 mil per year. But that's not horrible either. I'm just saying, like, it's not horrible because DeAngelo gives you a point guard and it allows RJ to possibly move to the 2. Then you can get yourself a better 3, or maybe you use Cam at the 3. It gives the Knicks some flexibility, and then Obi can be the 4. I know some people might say, well, you know, Obi is this and that, whatever, but DeAngelo makes up for Randle's scoring, and he's a better facilitator. What you do need to work on is you have to go out there and get yourself somebody who could get rebounds, because you're going to miss Julius's 10, you know, 9 to 10 rebounds a game. You do that, you can still make it work. I'm just saying, there's a lot of possibilities that the Knicks can look into. They're not all horrible. Just keep an open mind is what I'm saying. And is Marvin here?
Salute, guys.
Hey, there you go. What's up, Marvin?
Salute to the chat panel, Don P, Eddie C, Ryan. How you guys doing this evening?
Salute, Marvin. What's up, man?
Hey, Marvin.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in for a second. I'm gonna sit back in the cut and just listen mostly, but I heard some interesting takes from Don P. For one, I heard him mention Westbrook, and I just want to give you guys some numbers on a couple of players. One player. I don't know if Ron you remember, but we had spoke about Brunson earlier this year.
Oh, and hold on one second, Marvin. Guys, how is things looking right now? Because I'm just saying this because I see JJ was saying I was lagging pretty bad. Is it okay right now? I'm sorry. I guess you might have to bear with me. It's raining. You know, I'm on the East Coast in New York, and it's storming pretty bad over here. So it may be affecting my connection. I'm sorry, guys. I hope it's decent. You know, it might be coming in and out, but I hope you guys can still. Okay, Pudge says it looks good right now. All right, good. I'm sorry, Marvin. And also, salute to Allah Wise and my man, Pete Panogiotopoulos. I see you, man. Good to see you guys. Go ahead, Marvin. My fault.
Yeah, I was just, the take that I was real interested in was the Westbrook comment that Don P said. And also just wanted to give you guys some numbers on Brunson. And DLO also. Now, Brunson, guys, you know, he hadn't been a starter for Dallas, and this is his 4th year. Last year, he started 12 games, and he averaged 12 points. This year, he started 61 games. It's the highest minutes per year this year, which is 31. He's averaging 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. Now, and that's with Luka there with him. And I heard you, Ron, saying it. When Luka's not there, Brunson can really play, and he can really play anyway, guys. And I know you guys are thinking of salary cap and whatnot, but I want to go back to Don P's take also. Man, New York is the mecca of point guards, and we haven't had one in a long time. If you're going to spend some money, you might as well get somebody you need that's going to be there for you. I'm not saying he's the do-all fit for him, but he is a start. And I believe he's, because of his age and the way he's up and coming, like I said, he's first time in his career averaging 31 minutes a game. He's averaging 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. So this is his best year so far. Each year, his rookie year, he averaged 9, second year, 8, last year, 12, this year, 16. All up and coming.
I'm talking about Brunson?
Yes. So if you think about it, he's coming into his 5th year, which is normally times when players kind of round out. I think it's going to get even better. And then if you give him the complete, keys to the team, he can even facilitate and be a lot better in that sense too. And I just want to ask you, Don P, what do you see and where do you see Russell Westbrook fitting on the Knicks? I'm just kind of befuddled about Westbrook.
You mean Westbrook or DeAngelo Russell?
Well, Westbrook, as I heard you mention Westbrook one time. Now, Russell, I do see him.
Yeah, I must have been mistaken. I never mentioned Westbrook.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because I just don't agree with Westbrook very much. But DeAngelo Russell, now I'm going to bring his numbers up here in a second. I'm going to step back and just listen for a minute. But he's a little older than Brunson, and I don't know about the salary cap and everything. But I know Russell is something high on your list because we spoke about that the last time we were on here. What do you actually see, and how much uptake you think Russell can bring to the Knicks?
All right, so here's my thing with Russell. See, my only concern with Russell was his defense. That was my only concern with Russell. As far as how he sees the game, his IQ, he always played a little like when he first stepped into, again, like as far as a draft prospect, everybody always compared him to Steph Curry because of his jumper, whatever, which we established is streaky. And people compared him to James Harden because he's not athletic, he's not the fastest player, but he's constantly making good reads. My thing is Tom Thibodeau, if he's going to be our coach, we all know that he favors more so of a taller guard, like somewhere around the size of a 6'3", 6'4". That's why he had Alec Burks playing the starting point guard, even though we all know he's not a point guard. So when I look at somebody like DLO, he fits that build. He's somebody who wants to facilitate. He's somebody who can facilitate. He's somebody who can shoot. Out of everybody that you name, yeah, Brunson may be more aggressive in getting his points, but out of Brunson, out of De'Aaron Fox, out of Colin Sexton, and even Donovan Mitchell, I think of all of those players, I believe that DeAngelo Russell is the best shooter of all. Now, he's not the aggressive when it comes to scoring, but I think his shooting is better than all of them, especially as a spot-up shooter. So with that said, I think he fits the bill more than anybody because his greatest asset that will be for us is he wants to facilitate. He wants to see everybody eat. He's not looking to get his own points. He can if he wants to. He has proven that in the past, but he wants to see everybody eat. And in the last stretch of the games that we seen before we got eliminated from the play-ins, that's what was happening. Emmanuel quickly was facilitating a lot more, and that activated the team to play in a way more faster pace than what we previously had with Kemba Walker while he was still there. Alec Burks, of course, and whoever else was playing point guard, I forgot. But that's my pitch for DeAngelo Russell. Brunson, he's good. He's good. He's a dog. You know what I mean? He's not a scrub by any stretch. I just don't think that with the team that we have, I just don't think at 6'1", he's not the dude for me. He's not the dude for this team. That's just I could be wrong.
No, that's a great take. I was just wondering why you felt him a little better. I'm looking at his numbers here. He's in his eighth season. And he's doing very well, really. And the size differential, I understood that. I didn't mention that. I meant to mention that to you. For Tom Thibodeau, he does love that kind of point guard also. And he's averaging 7 assists, too. But, to me,
he's doing that.
I haven't got to the contracts yet. But I believe they both are pretty good fits. And I want to go to Eddie C for a second. Eddie C, I heard you say something about the cap room. Were you so concerned with the Knicks situation in cap space that you're not going to better this team enough to get it over the top? Meaning, are you going to be timid on who you sign? Now, one thing I can say before you give your take is I don't know how you feel about Donovan Mitchell, but you know that salary is huge. And would you take a Donovan Mitchell? And if not, who are you looking for?
Yeah. Like you said before, you asked me your question. I really look at salary cap. I really look at value. You know, I'm not a person that's down to paying DeAngelo Russell 27 million and him giving me, I believe Don P said it was like 16.5 and whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I'm paying you 27 million, I want you to produce 25 points per game. I want you to be, a player that's there for 82 games in a season, which DeAngelo Russell has a propensity for not playing the whole year. Even this year, I think he was out the beginning of the year for about a month and a half or so with an elbow, if I'm not mistaken. So those things always come into the back of my mind when I'm thinking about upgrading my team. Not to say that I won't overpay for somebody, not to saying that if I'm able to sign a player that I won't do it, but the player has to check a lot of the boxes for me, as in value, as in is he going to be available to play, as in his character, as in a lot of different things, because, this is not my money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that these people that make these decisions make the decisions as if that's their money. You're not gonna pay $17,000 for a car per se, and it turns out to be a lemon because you don't do your due diligence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you're able to pay maybe 10 to 11 to a $12,000 car, maybe not the one that you really, really wanted, but that one is going to give you the best value, and you're going to be able to be dependent on that for a longer period of time. So you get what I'm saying? I'm very diligent when it comes to who I ask for, who I want. I just said IQ is 6'3". He's learning how to play the point guard position. He's been with us for 3 years, and we're paying him $2.5 million this year and next, and he's available for an extension next year. That to me is a better value than having to pay Brunson. I'm going to put Brunson as an example here. $20 million per year for 4 years, 6'1" point guard, and we can see already that sometimes he gets a little dinged up. He's a smaller guy. And not everybody is Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he's not Chris Paul. So, I just feel like, even like when people bash, let's take for example, and I'm gonna kick the mic. For example, the Julius Randle contract. Julius Randle, can somebody help me out? How much is he gonna get paid next year? Is it 24? Is it 25 million? But that guy, he averages about 20.
I just looked it up too, because
you would think I would already have this in my head, but I forgot, man. Hold on,
I'll get you now. I'm bringing it up now, Ron.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead, Eddie C.
So my point being is 20 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. We already know the attitude problems. We already know the extracurricular stuff, but the guy plays every game.
Yeah.
He's
and
there
Randall's Randall's at 21.7 per.
Wow. That's for when his contract kicks in next year. That's his first year salary.
No, he's gonna be at so do you want the base salary or the cap hit? Does that make a difference to you?
The base salary. What is
his base
salary?
is gonna be 23 and 7. So 23 million and 7. Then
23.7.
Yeah,
and you said DeAngelo Russell was 27 mil.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then you're actually saying that we have to add somebody else to that. I'm definitely
not. You don't have to add a big contract. You just have to add a small, just to make up for the
money work. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're talking about someone who makes around 4 million, that could be anybody.
Yeah. Then the thing is, and there's the same thing that I had to take when I had about Lonzo Ball. Yeah, he's 6'6" point guard who can defend, who does these great things.
And he could pass.
When Chicago Bulls needed him the most, he was on the bench injured.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but the same thing could be said about Stephen Curry in his earlier career. Remember them chronic ankle injuries he had before he went on for like 50 points, 60 points there. Like all of us thought that his career was finna be over because for like 2-3 years straight before he showed any signs of being that dude, he had chronic ankle injuries. You know what I mean? Like it was chronic. It was happening every year. He was missing 30 games there. He almost missed the season, the next season. So I get what you're saying. Now, if we're talking about
but before you get to the point, because I gotta leave soon. The difference there, and this is what the point that I'm trying to drive home. He was on his rookie deal. So you're not paying Stephen Curry at that time $30 million a year, and he's not playing. You know what I'm saying? You're paying him $7 million a year, and you're waiting for him to bust. And he's getting through these problems, and he busts his fourth year, and then you got to make your decision now if you want to pay this kid. Because I don't even know what his next contract was. It was probably around 15, 16, right? And you still getting. Then he blows up, and you're paying him 15, 16 million for 4 years. Then you get into the territory where you're signing Stephen Curry to a max contract of 30 million per year. And by that time, he's a world champion. By that time, he's MVP. By that time, he's Stephen Curry that we all know today.
I don't think it was in his rookie year. I could be mistaken. I think it was after his rookie contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we would have to look that up.
Yeah, because I'll never forget. I mean, you know what? I could be wrong on that. I definitely could be wrong on that. I see what you're saying. Like you want somebody who's just going to be available and reliable as far as being healthy. Like I get that.
If I'm gonna pay you X million amount of money, I want you to play. Like I don't want you to be hurt. I don't want you to be, like there's one thing I could say about Julius Randle. Everybody could say whatever his deficiencies. That boy's gonna be there for 80 games a season.
Here's my problem with Julius. My thing with Julius is he's not a scrub by no stretch of the. I would be disingenuous to say he's a scrub. He's good. On a bad season, he averaged what you said 21 and 7. That's good. That's real good. That's productive. I'll give him that. But again, his playing style, the playing style that he has, it's no different from Carmelo Anthony's playing style. It's no different from the playing style that Michael Beasley used when he played one season with us. And they was making them in the same production as Julius Randle. Now Julius Randle has that playing style, which I feel like it's a little outdated. It slows the offense down. So I'm not seeing him doing no more pick and rolls. I'm not seeing him cut into the basket like he used to. I'm not seeing those things no more. He thrives when the ball is in his hands for X amount of seconds, and I feel like it slows the pace down. We have the slowest offense in the league, bar none. Yeah. There's no offense in the league that's slower than us. So it's like, so what do we do? And you got Obi Toppin, regardless of how people feel about him or not, who feels as though he should be that dude. So you can't have both Obi Toppin and Julius Randle on the same team, and they both feel like they should be a starter. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go at this point. And that's why I was pitching to DeAngelo Russell, because of all the people that we named, his contract matches up more so with Julius than anybody else's.
And before you go, Eddie, I just wanted to ask you this. So it sounds like to me that you would be kind of comfortable, and I don't know if I'm taking this take correctly, that you'd be not exactly comfortable with running it back with this team. And if you felt that way, I don't know how popular that would be in New York, but I wanted to know your take on that. And if that wasn't your take, what is your shakeup? Because you don't want to burn off too much cash. What do you see realistically for the Knicks to get them better and to make them better without running the same team back? Because in my eyes, and I'm pretty sure in a lot of people's in the chat and New York-based fan, they don't want to see the same team ran back. So do you feel that they should run it back, or where's your shakeup?
Yeah, I guess running back wouldn't be what I would say, because there has to be some type of change, but it doesn't necessarily have to be with players. It can be with the style of play. It could be with things that are implemented in our offense, things that are implemented in our defense. I think the player that we can get at 11, if we chose the right player, I'm a big Tyree Eason fan. I'm a big Jeremy Sohan fan. I would like to get those guys to play maybe the 3 a little bit, have a bigger team, help Julius Randle out in that sense, a defensive player at the 3. Then you can maybe move RJ to the 2 and have Quickly at the 1. I'm not a big Cam Reddish guy, but I know he can play. If he's able to beat out the rookie for the number 3 spot, then that's another defensive player that we can add. So I think the pieces, and I wouldn't bet my money on Julius Randle having as bad as a year personally as he did last year. I think he's going to be a better player. I think he there's something to be said about learning from your mistakes, and for you to be a better man and to be a better person, you have to make mistakes to learn from them. So I guess what you're saying is right, man. I guess it's kind of like, in a sense, running it back, but you can flip the script in many ways to where it doesn't seem like you're running it back. You know what I'm saying? Just play a little bit different, because the pieces are all there. I think we have a surplus of pieces. We're actually looking to downsize, but it's not that easy as just saying I just want to downsize, I just want to consolidate. It's harder to really do that than to just say I want to do this, I want to trade that, and I want to be judicious. I don't want to give up somebody who, again, is going to make $23 million for somebody that's $27 million and is not going to be there for me. And
right.
Julius has been with us for 3 years, so right. that holds value to me. And with that, man, thanks a lot for the questions, Marvin. I really appreciate it. John, great job today, man. I really got to go. I got to start working right now. Don P, man, keep on with your takes, man, with how you want to build your team. This is what it's all about. Everybody just brainwashing and see what's the best thing that we can do. And maybe one of us hits, you never know. Maybe the Knicks do get DeAngelo Russell and you feel good about that. Or maybe, I don't know if Marvin likes Russell Westbrook. I think he mentioned him, and they go through with that, and it's just whatever we say.
No, I don't like him. No, I do not like him. No.
Okay.
All right, Eddie. Thank you for jumping on, bro. Have a great day at work, man. And
you too,
happy early Mother's Day to you and yours.
Thank you very much. You guys too, man. Happy Mother's Day. Peace out.
You too as well,
bro. Yeah, and he meant Ron, guys. I know he said John. That's okay. We get confused. If you look at the side by side between me and him, we're similar. Anyway, first off, I want to salute Harlem Girl. I see you in the chat, dropping that fire. Keyshawn's in the building. What's good? I don't know if I mentioned you before, Paris Duggar, but I see you. Thank you as always. And Jarvis LaFleur, what's going on, Jarvis? Good to see you, brother. Harlem Girl says running it back with the same roster sounds depressing. Yeah, listen, Harlem Girl, sometimes it makes sense. If you look at how this Knick team played down the stretch, when Tibbs actually was forced to play people, you notice they played better. I know the competition was different, but hey, I give them credit, because you know what? Even when they played a bad team down the stretch, when RJ went out, and they had to play without nobody, no Julius, no RJ, and they found a way to win, and they did good. So you just got to give them some chances to go out there and play and show what they can do and be a part of this team. Jonathan Green, appreciate you. Good to see you. So guys, I wanted to take this quick opportunity. I probably should have did it earlier, because I hope I didn't lose anybody. And I hope, Jay Boogie, if you're not in the chat, I hope you're still watching, brother. I appreciate you to the fullest, man, to the fullest. This, it's a Saturday show, but we know Mother's Day is tomorrow. And I just want to give a special shout out and salute to all the moms out there holding it down, doing what they got to do. We respect y'all. We joke about Father's Day not being a big deal anymore, but Mother's Day always needs to be respected. So appreciate y'all. As you guys know, earlier this year, Jay Boogie lost his mom. Also, my man Ron Cleveland, man, he lost his mother as well. So I want to salute both of them. Definitely appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And I want to dedicate this song to them, as well as to all the mothers out there. This is a song by Jay Boogie. You know, Jay Boogie always comes with that heat, and I feel like this is the best time to put that out there. You know, salute to Project Nerd. This is what it's about. So if you guys bear with me, let me put this in there and play this real quick. Let's salute and respect and represent for our moms, and then we can get back into the Knick talk, because you know that's what it's all about. But we can't forget, man, how important they are to us. Without them, there'd be no us. So let's get this cracking.
Salute, man.
Real life, real situation.
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You want sunshine?
Ain't no word bigger than mom's unless you're talking about God.
I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
This for all the mothers.
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You want sunshine? Through the clouds I see your smile. I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
This for your moms, my moms, they gave us all birth. I be the last, but blessed to say that I'm the first. The 9 months feel like years ago. My tears drop, my eyes face where heaven flows. Whoever thought I'd be seen, heard from TV? No, I miss your beautiful smile when you see me like that's your child. Mom finally made it. Made it through all the ones you know that hated. You know the ones that said you had a bad child and couldn't see nothing good in my lifestyle. I'm feeling sorry for the things I did, like stealing candy out the store as a little kid. My first beating, you really taught me a lesson. But what it was, you really gave me a blessing. Punishment took away my TV. For 2 weeks, I couldn't have no company. Nobody can come over there.
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You want sunshine? Through the clouds I see your smile. I'm so proud to say that I'm your child. This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You want sunshine?
Every mother in the world.
Through the clouds I see your smile. I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
No more pain, no sorrow, she in a better place. Look in the mirror, reflected, I see my mom's face. My first step in my life after my last crawl. When Pops left, still showed me how to play ball. Showed me the difference from a dad and how to be a father. Martin Luther, your dreams and let nothing stop you. Ain't nobody more special than moms. Throughout your good and your bad, she gon' always be your mom. Gon' always love a child, gon' always bring a smile, gon' always bring your joy, gon' always girl or boy. Be a queen, I'm raised to be a king. Respectfully, then love your moms if you're feeling me. I'ma shed a tear. What I mean, I know a spirit's in here. Hey, you love yours, I love mine. I got my head to the sky, then love your mom's while she living her life, alright? Right?
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You want sunshine?
All the beautiful mothers.
I see your smile, and I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
Appreciate them.
My life, my life, my life, my life. You want sunshine?
Appreciate them.
Your smile, I'm so proud.
Baby, I'll sacrifice everything for you. No matter the cost, you're worth the fight. You're worth it because you are my life. I raised you, I pray I did it right. Through all your ups and downs, I'll never leave your side. For you, mama's always gonna fight. Sunshine, and you make me smile. I'm so proud, yeah, I'm so proud. Cause you are my life, my life, my life. You're my sunshine. I see your smile, you make me proud.
Every day that your mom's is living, every day she breathing. Don't wait for that one day to celebrate her. Live her every day of the year. She's your sunshine,
sunshine
all over the world.
And you are my sunshine.
Yeah, man, that joint is fire, especially the second verse going into the end. Woo, Jay Boogie.
Yeah. You know, hey, Ron, you know, I just wanted to say, man, shout out to Jay Boogie, man. You know, he's an inspiration for the Knicks. Has always been, and you know, will always be. But I could have sworn I heard Jay-Z in there. But hey, man, that guy's got sky's the limit for that guy, man. He's great.
Yeah, man. Jay Boogie is fire, man. Jay Boogie is a great dude, inspirational, man. Salute to you, brother. Once again, salute to you and Ron Cleveland. I know it's been a tough year for y'all. Y'all made the transition. Y'all still making the transition, but I'm always here. Obviously, you know how I give it up to you guys. Jay Boogie, we talk. So thank you once again for blessing us with a dope track. Appreciate you, brother. It'll be in my rotation, and I'll definitely be playing it tomorrow, man. So thank you once again. Salute to you, brother. Yeah, man. Salute to everybody and happy early Mother's Day to all of y'all. So, the other trade rumor that has kind of been making its way around it's one that I don't really think the Knicks need to consider. One, the price tag is crazy. You talk about not wanting to give Brunson money. You want to give, 40 million to, high 30s, if not that, to Rudy Gobert. I mean, I don't know if you want to. Listen, Rudy Gobert is a top defensive player, definitely top 5 in the league. Only reason I'm not saying he's number 1 is because I think Giannis might be better than him now. And he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year. It went to Marcus Smart. Malcolm. He doesn't really score. He does hit his free throws. He's pretty decent at hitting his free throws. He's a better down low option than any of our current centers. That's not saying much. So
no, not for that price tag.
No.
I mean, is he a glorified Mitchell Robinson?
Yeah, he is. He's what we would hope Mitchell Robinson could be. I don't think Mitchell Robinson could ever be him. I just think that Mitchell can become a little bit more dominant defensively, but he can't be Rudy Gobert dominant. Rudy Gobert just is really solid. He has great timing. You can work on it, but some people just have it. Like I've always said, this is no joke. If you look at Mitchell Robinson compared to Nerlens Noel, just as far as timing, Nerlens Noel has excellent timing as far as blocking shots. Mitchell doesn't have that. Mitchell can block shots, but Nerlens has excellent timing in blocking shots. He may not be the athlete that Mitchell Robinson is. Maybe he doesn't get to it as quick, but when he's blocking shots, impeccable. So that's the thing. I was just going to say, that's what Rudy Gobert has. He has the athleticism to get to spots quickly. First step is fast, and he has that timing. Go ahead, Marvin.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you, Nerlens is on his last year this year, isn't he? Or next year?
I think it's next year.
Okay, and he's under a 3-year, $8 million. Now you got Robinson that coming up to get paid.
Right.
I have a question for you. This question is for you, Ron. Are you guys going to keep Nerlens?
Nerlens?
Yeah.
Not if I can help it. Not if I can help it. Nerlens is up out of here.
Don P, what'd you say?
You said would I keep Nerlens?
Yeah, I mean, would you consider it?
Nerlens, I like Nerlens, man, but I don't know, man. I feel bamboozled.
I mean, you like him. I haven't seen him. How can we like it?
I feel bamboozled about him, man. Like even if he does get healthy, right? Let's just say he does get healthy. That's a stringy dude, man. That's a stringy dude. Like I can't see him bumping shoulders with the rest of the centers in the league moving forward. Like he's not going to get any bigger. And as far as what's his name, Rudy Gobert, for that price tag and what he could do, like, nah, I'm not with it. If for all of that, I might as well take a veteran like JaVale McGee or something. Who's a veteran who's used to putting up, I won't say similar numbers, but decent production for us as far as rebounding and man in the paint.
Yeah. And Ron, to you, Ron, is it realistic to go ahead and keep Nerlens, keep your young center, and direct your money attention to the point guard position, That way, you already got Nerlens under contract. You got Sims under contract. You can direct your money towards your point guard position in more of a need now, need. And because if you look at the production of the center position, I wouldn't say it hurt the Knicks last year, but it wasn't essential. I believe that point guard position is a real essential position on the team that needs to be addressed. Now, with Robinson, here's the deal. What I'm saying is this: if you keep Nerlens and Sims, I'm not saying I'm not happy with letting Mitch go, but this would have to probably work this way. If you let him go, then you could address that money to that point guard position and other positions also, and then run it back with those two centers. Now, I'm not saying Nerlens and Sims is the answer, but you have to address the most important position on the team first, which is the point guard. That's a question to you, Ron. Would you entertain that?
Right. Well, let me say this real quick because I see I was going a little rough there on Rudy Gobert. Is he worth that money? No. But no. I did forget a big element of Rudy Gobert's game. He is a top-notch A1 rebounder. The dude can get you rebounds. He's one of the best in the game. 15, 16, 17, 18. He's a rebounder. So I'll give him credit for that. Okay. That being said, that's the problem. That I brought that up because that's the problem that I find. One, I don't trust Nerlens Noel, Marvin. I think he's always been Teflon Don, man. He always gets hurt. He's very fragile. He just can't put on the weight. I think it's time that they move on from him. Let him be somebody else's problem. Your point to saving some money and letting Mitchell go, especially if he commands a good price tag that's going to cut into the cap and all that, and they could use that money to hit a different position. I could see it. And you never know, the Knicks might decide to do that. They might decide to go with Jericho and say, let's go out there and get us another formidable, center that we can use at a lower price tag. And they may do that because
somebody
Jericho has shown
Tom Whiteside.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They may do something like that.
To give a shout out to Pudge in the chat, he says let's do a sign and trade with Mitch, and then you don't lose him for nothing, and you still can address those other issues. That's a great decision. I understand that. I wanted to check with you on that, Ron, because I don't know the direction. None of us knows the direction that the organization is going to go in, but there's so many ways that they can spin this thing. And then to Don P's fact, he wants a good point guard, but point guards are going to demand a lot of money. So in my eyes, I was just trying to see if is it realistic to you guys to address that money.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. But what I will say is the other thing that Mitch provides is he's not a great overall rebounder, but he is one of the best offensive rebounders in the game. And it's hard to make up for that, especially when you don't get that from Nerlens. Nerlens is not a good rebounder. He's very adequate around the paint. He affects change because he's really good timing-wise defensively. But the fact that he can't stay healthy, I just wouldn't want to take a chance with that guy. And one, I've said this already, I don't care what the Knicks do going into next season. Do not bring back Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel, and Jericho Sims. I cannot see three of the same guy again on this team. You're not doing anything that way. You got to give me something different. One of those guys got to go.
Then that means Mitchell Robinson might have to go because I think that we're stuck with Nerlens Noel. I can't possibly see any other team, wanting his services. I
hear you, Don P, but let me tell you something. You're never stuck with anybody.
No,
you're all about whether you're willing to make the move.
I understand Don P's take on that, but you can put a package together. Something can be done to get.
Yeah, no, you never stuck. We may be stuck with the move because we'll say, okay, we're going to take on this, whoever this is. Yeah, throw him in, we'll take him, but you taking Nerlens Noel back. So that's how it is. Like, we'll get a player we want and we'll take somebody we don't want, but we'll get Nerlens Noel up out of here. He's going.
I got you. See, we got a couple of players like that. When does Kemba Walker's contract in?
Who is that?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Kemba Walker. When does this contract end?
I
He's on a
he
2-year
was
deal.
on a 2-year, I think. He was a 2-year.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
I'm looking at. I'm bringing it up now, guys. Yeah, he's on a 2-year, 8.7.
That's
no. You can move that. You can move it.
You can move that.
And he does, for whatever reason. Charlotte still loves him. I mean, that's not whatever reason. We know what he did for Charlotte. I just don't know how he fits their team right now. Anyway, but I guess someone that could come off the bench and spell. I just don't see it. But Charlotte has shown some interest, even at this point, after everything Kemba's done this year. They've shown some interest in bringing him back. I don't know if they're real about it, or maybe that's a way that they're trying to fleece the Knicks. Like, okay, we'll take Kemba, but take this Gordon Hayward contract off of us. Who knows?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
I noticed that you very seldom you guys speak about Fournier. So obviously, both of you guys and the chat, question to all of you guys. He's definitely coming back, correct?
Who?
Yeah, for sure.
Fournier.
Oh, yeah. I think as much as Fournier showed you his deficiencies and what he's bad at, he also showed you what he's good at. And you could point to everybody on this Knick team that you want out of here. Nerlens, you could point to Kemba, you could point to Alec Burks. When you think about it, out of all those guys, who gave you the most this season? That's Fournier. Say what you will about him. He's a 3-point shooter, but he's good at it. And he broke a record for a reason. Like, he takes a lot of them, but he hits a lot of them. So one thing about Fournier that's funky to me, though, I just wanted to put that out there. It's just the weirdest thing to me. Have you guys noticed that Fournier looks like a bad free throw shooter? How can you be so good at shooting 3 points and you get to the free throw line, you miss your free throws? I don't get it.
Because he's a specialist. He's a true specialist.
I guess so.
On a free throw, he's
maybe he needs to run up to the line every time he takes his shot. When he's stationary, he can't hit. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
he's one of those players.
You know what, guys? I had this on my mind before it slips my mind. I had a question for both of you guys and the chat also. Was the end of this year an aberration, or will Tibbs truly play the players that he played at the end of the year, or was it an aberration, or was it forced on him? And as well as we know, it was kind of forced on him. But seeing the success of the Knicks late, will he actually do this? Will he run Obi? And to you, Ron, come to think of it, because you say Obi cannot play. There's no way you see him playing with Randall. Is that true? I mean, anything can happen. And
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Don P, because I might have a little bit more to say about it. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, so Tibbs, his philosophy is he need a rim protector at all times. So Obi nor Julius fits that bill in the center position. So with that said, that's why I said one of them has to go. Like, my thing is take pieces away from Tibbs to where he only could play certain players. You give him a certain amount of pieces. Tibbs is one of those coaches where it's about who he favors as opposed to who's producing. So if he favors you and he likes a certain player, regardless of whether we like him or not, he's just gonna play him. So we can all chant Obi all we want. At the end of the day, if Julius is still there, he's gonna play him over Obi all day long. And he probably will give Obi probably about 15, 16 minutes, but we're not satisfied with that. I don't think Obi's agent is gonna be satisfied with that. And I just don't trust Tibbs. I don't.
So you feel it was an aberration that it was forced on him to play these players, and if they be there next year, he will not play them. Is that what you're saying?
I think he was forced to play those players. I think he really was. I think the front office, see what it was, and they was like, you know what, we're not even making a plane. Let's see what we have in the kids. I think it was one of those type of deals. You leave it up to Tibbs, he's gonna just, he would have played the same players. I don't even really think Julius was really injured. I think it was just one of those things to where it came from up top first.
And you, Ron?
Hey, listen, I'm that's not far fetched to me. I think, you know, when we first saw, remember that there was a 3-game stretch where Julius really was injured, where we saw them play without him and they struggled a little bit. They just didn't, you know, they didn't know what to do. They didn't have a system set up. It was just thrown into the fire. RJ was forcing things, and they just didn't look good, right? But that second time around, when you gave the Knicks had about, I don't know, 2 weeks or more, maybe almost 3 weeks to take a look at the young guys and play them more, and you saw Jericho play more, and then somehow Randall was hurt. Yeah, we know that Randall, at that point, Randall wasn't hurt, but that was, you know, that's what they do. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm still at the point where I say that Tibbs has to be forced to play these guys. Some Knick fans have felt like Tibbs has his rotation and he feels like some of these guys aren't ready. But then I think towards the end of the season, when they saw these guys playing better and saw Obi with minutes, what he looked like, and quickly being a little bit in a different role, like being the guy instead of Burks, you saw what he could do. And then you can't go, you know, without mentioning the fact that Obi said it in his when he was being interviewed. He said, "Listen, you know, I didn't have a lot of confidence. My confidence wasn't at a high level. I felt like every time I went out there, if I did something wrong, I was going to do something wrong or something like that." He didn't want to say like, "Oh, you know, Tibbs wasn't letting me play. I couldn't do anything." But what he said basically said what we all knew. As soon as he made one mistake, Tibbs was yanking him. That's all Tibbs. Yeah. Tibbs. No, I don't care how much you love Tibbs. After hearing what Obi said when they interviewed him at the end of the season, when he was dropping all them buckets, what he said let you know that he felt he couldn't do anything right out there. And if he did something wrong, Tibbs was going to yank him. And therefore, he was pressing. You can't play basketball that way and be successful as a young player. An older vet, you've been around the league, you know exactly how to play ball. None of that bothers you. But a young guy who's learning, that stuff affects you. And I think even the Tibbs apologists will have to agree that that's true. Maybe Tibbs messed up there. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't, and how I feel about Obi, I just feel like, you know, Obi and Randall can be on the same team together. They just can't be on the court at the same time. Obi needs space. Randall's job is to be a go-to guy for the Knicks, to be a scoring option, and he is a really good rebounder. If Randall is your best rebounder and he's in the, he got to be in the paint to get the rebound. So that means he's going to be in there clogging that spot. So Obi can't be there if Randall's there. And first off, Obi's not as good of a rebounder. Secondly, we know how Randall likes to score, how he gets the ball on the box and he moves around sometimes to get into the paint, but he likes to shoot on that mid-range jumper. He moves on those spots. That's a lane where Obi needs to start his thing. He takes up that spot. So they just can't function together on the same court. We see when Obi can move wherever he wants and just he plays with whatever the game is dictating. You know, like Tibbs love to say, the game will show you what to do, whatever.
Right. The gaslight.
That's what he needs. That's why I say they can't be on the same court at the same time and be effective together.
Well, you know, and I'm reading the chat, guys, and I'm not going to say anybody in particular, but I wanted to ask you guys this question. Is it a fair assumption that it's up and down with Obi? Now, in the short time that he got the promising minutes, he showed much improvement. Do you guys think him being, if you guys let if you let Randall go, him at the starting position there, will he flourish? And are we being a little bit harsh on him because we really haven't seen him enough to even judge him? So is it time for Obi? The question I'm basically asking.
You know what? I hate when people do this to me, but I might have to do that with you. Let me answer your question with another question, then I'm gonna answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Randall will put up the same numbers Obi did if he had 11 minutes per game with the same leash on him that Obi had?
Which you mean playing only 11 minutes a game?
Yep.
No way. He wouldn't play. He just wouldn't have the time.
Right. So you do realize that, like, Obi, when he was getting 10 minutes a game, 11 minutes a game, he was extremely efficient at times. More times than not, he was extremely efficient. So
considering the minutes, yeah, considering the minutes, you're right.
considering the minutes. So that tells me right then and there that it always told me once he gets more minutes, the points will come easy for him, easier and faster than it would with random. So all right. So to answer your question, I would think that it is Obi's time because the way the NBA game is going, like I said, we're playing at the slowest pace, and yeah, some people could blame Tom Thibodeau, some people could blame him, but you see what kind of game Randall wants to play. Before he got to the Knicks, he was playing a pick and roll game in New Orleans. He wasn't playing the same style that he was playing with the Knicks. So, and it was way more of an efficient style in New Orleans that he was playing over there as opposed to what he was playing on the Knicks. So, my thing is, it is Obi's time. It is Obi's time. The pace is so much faster. The game was way more exciting. And it's not. I know it seems like I'm throwing shade on Randall. Again, he's not a scrub. I just don't think he's the right dude for our team specifically.
Fit wise, I understand. And do you, Ron?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't. I mean, if I
you're not high on Obi. If it was up to me, Obi, are you? Yeah, you're not real high on Obi, are you, Ron?
No, Obi. I love Obi.
Okay.
I said all season from the summer league coming into the season, I said it's Obi season. I was down on Obi because I felt like you could blame Tibbs for certain parts of Obi being held back. But then when Obi has a chance to be out there, Obi got to work on his game. Obi got to do stuff. Obi was kind of slacking a little bit, I thought, early in the season. When he did have opportunities to play, I don't think he made the best of it. And I said that, and other people definitely said that, and I agreed with them. Like, you can't – it's one thing to say Obi needs to play more minutes, but when Obi has those minutes, Obi needs to show why he needs to be out there. And early in the season – he was struggling. I mean, he was struggling bad. He had real bad moments. And that is part Obi, but it's part Tibbs. And I think that's what guys are not given credit to for a player who's 23, 24 years old. Yes, he's older than some of these guys, but that's still young. And the fact that he's a new NBA player, you know, only a couple years under his belt. This is the second. He's still a young guy as far as learning how to be on the NBA stage. I don't care what he did in college and how he dominated. When you get to the NBA, it's faster. People are better at their positions, and you have to make an adjustment. And when you don't play, some guys need time to make that adjustment. And Obi seems like he's the type of guy who needs time to make that adjustment. But I will say that he needed to do more with his minutes, and Obi was not. The other thing that I will say about Obi is he needed to work on his dribble better. He needed to get into the lane better. He needed to be more aggressive, and he definitely needed to shoot better from the outside in order to keep the defense honest. Because if they know you as just a dunker, they're just going to keep you out the paint. And if you can't dribble past them, you ain't never getting in the paint. And then when you do, you forcing the shot, it's not going to be good. So what I will say is Obi, as we saw down the stretch of games when he played more minutes and got more opportunities to jack up the threes, you see he hit it at a high clip.
Yeah.
Even a better clip than Randall at some points. Plus that opened up his inside game more, because that's always how it is. You know, you play better from the outside, you get to get inside. Okay. But what I wanted to also touch on is, I mean, because the other thing that the people that are still not sold on Obi like to say is that look who he's doing it against. I agree. He played against some poor competition down the stretch. But when Obi did get more minutes against the Hornets on March 23rd, he played 40 minutes. He had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. And that was a Hornet team that was in contention to get into the playoffs, and they were playing well at that time. Then he played against the Miami Heat. He played 26 minutes. He had 15 points and 8 rebounds against Miami, and that's on 6 of 10 shooting in 26 minutes. To me, that's good. That's a fine stat line for Obi in that amount of minutes. Then so against the Bulls.
Imagine that with a competent point guard.
Right, exactly. No, I agree with you totally. Against the Bulls, he played 20 minutes. He had 17 points on 6 of 11 shooting and 3 of 6 from 3. And then we get towards the final 5 games of the season when he goes on his stretch. Against the Cavaliers, he had 20 points. Magic, he had 20. the Nets against the Nets, who they have better talent than the Knicks, and you got Durant out there and whoever else. He had 19 points and 5 rebounds, and then he had 35 points against the Wizards, and he had 42 and 10 against the Raptors to end the season, who I know they weren't playing anybody out there. But the point is, okay, don't play anybody and watch how I eat against these dudes. 42 and 10 is 42 and 10.
You're right.
So that's all I'm saying, guys. I get it. Like, you want to say that he hasn't showed that he can do it against top-notch competition, but he had good numbers against the Bulls, the Heat, and the Hornets, and the Cavaliers. And if you look at the minutes and how he was used, you can't knock it. That's all I'm saying.
See, the same thing. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marvin.
No, go ahead, Don P. I'll do my take next.
See, the same thing you said about Obi, like what people saying about Obi, how they don't believe him. That's how I felt about Frank Ntilikina. That's how I felt about him for a while. Like, he had plenty of opportunities to show us what he got, and he fumbled the bag. You know what I mean? So with that said, Obi, on the other hand, he always showed flashes. He's like one of those players to where he plays off of instincts. He's not one of those players that thinks and then makes a move. He's not a methodic player. So you could tell when he got the little bit of opportunity that he did when Randall was really injured during the middle of the season, that he thought about every shot he took. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He thought about every dribble he took, every pass that he made. He was scared that, if I fail this game, this is my one and only opportunity. And if I fail, this is going to knock me off. I don't have the same leash as Randall. I don't have the same leash as RJ Barrett. These dudes got opportunities to fill night in and night out and still get their minutes. Obi, on the other hand, and Cam Reddish, when he was on the Hawks, they didn't have their opportunities. So my thing is, for our players, we got to have opportunities to fill. You know what I mean? Especially for the people who I don't know about any of y'all, but I think, Obi and Cam Reddish, they got talent. It's not going to manifest itself in 15, 16 minutes. They need some minutes in order for their talent to manifest. That's all.
I agree with that.
I wanted to say this too, Ron, if you didn't mind. I believe every take that we are having right now, and all Knicks fans need to understand that all of this is conducive to what Tibbs is going to do. Because if you're going to run Tibbs' regular set, he's more conducive with Randall. Just like in Don P said, the pace. Right. I believe Tibbs kind of digs that. Now, he had to play a higher pace once Randall went down and Obi was playing, which showed kind of his versatility, I do believe. Will Tibbs. Now, if you think about it, and I'm saying this for you, Don P, because your take is one of them got to go. Well,
right.
Do you think Tibbs will want the fast pace, or will he want the Randall pace? Because he's real in with Randall. He wasn't real keen on Obi, just in the fact that he wasn't playing him that many minutes. And if he kept them both, is it possible that he can play the slow down pace with Randall, and then when Obi comes in, he play the high pace? And I want to answer that question myself. I believe he can. Now, the only question to this whole thing is, because I hear a lot of fans in the chat, and I hear a lot of Knicks fans say, let's get us a point guard in the draft. Well, guys, you still have Tibbs. He's more than likely he's not going to play him. So the best way to address that is to get, in Don P's case, go out and get you a veteran point guard. And then in Eddie C's case, run it back with that, and then hopefully Tibbs can adjust by playing the slow pace if you keep Randall, and then speeding it up if you keep Obi. Just my thoughts on it, because I really wanted to address the fact that everybody's talking about the draft. Well, anytime you think about the draft, you have to consider your head coach. Is he going to play this young guy? And here we go again with a young guy on the bench, and everybody's upset. So because I'm kind of up in the air with if Randall and Obi can play together but if they can be on the same team. I think they can be on the same team. But I'm with you on that too, Ron. I'm not sure if they could be on the floor together at all times.
Yeah, I think they can be on the same team, and I think they will be on the team because I don't think Randall's going anywhere. So
that's right.
You know, it is what it is.
Right.
And I think that Obi has shown the front office enough to say, oh, well, we were sour on him early. He wasn't really being aggressive. We didn't see him taking any strides. But what he did in these last 2 weeks, we might have to hold on to Obi. So I don't think Obi's going anywhere. So, yeah, they're both going to be here, most likely. And they're going to have to figure out a way to make it work. But let me tell you something. If we go into next year and the Knicks make a couple changes, and if by some chance we bring in a better point guard, whoever it is, and the Knicks don't make an improvement or don't show improvement, Thibodeau's going to be the weak link, and they're going to get rid of him because of the fact that we would have to become a better offensive team if we make those type of moves. And if we're not, and we can't utilize both Obi and Randall, and they're still here, they would have to let him go.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Salute to Cully. Appreciate you, brother. And I just don't agree that Tibbs understands what to do in today's NBA to be successful offensively anymore. Defensively, I think he's very adequate. I think he can definitely, if you give him the pieces, he can put something together to affect the other team. I still think he needs to tweak that three-point strategy that he has. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys know, but Dallas plays the same sort of defensive strategy where they try to let the three-point shooter beat you. But they try to force you out. But Dallas has some aggressive defenders, and they're better at team defense than the Knicks are, if you ask me.
Right.
And it shows. So maybe if you give Tibbs the right pieces, because I feel like he's running a system that he doesn't have the right players for. That's a knock on the front office, yes. But you got to make the best of what you got. So Tibbs needs to. That's the thing. That was my biggest complaint that I had mentioned. I understand that maybe Tibbs doesn't have the right personnel to do what he wants to do. Okay, so you got to change your system. Your system is. If I tell you, listen, I want you to press up on this guy and take the three-point shot away, and you give me Kemba Walker, that ain't gonna happen. So I got to figure something else out. And this is where I get mad at Tibbs. He don't make the adjustments. Anyway, that being said, guys, I figure I don't want to, we're getting long in the tooth here with the show, and I want to make sure maybe I've dragged it out a little too much. I want to talk about these other two pieces of the show. One being Malcolm Brogdon. I know I saw Paris Duggar had mentioned that he feels Malcolm Brogdon is a better option, better player than DeAngelo Russell. Overall, like all around, Malcolm Brogdon is that. He can shoot the three. He can facilitate. He's a great defender. Once again, never healthy. Never healthy. This is the problem I have with these guys. Everybody that we're looking to look at, most likely that we're thinking about, they have injury issues. DLO has looked a little better as far as his injury stuff lately. He has been prone to getting injured too, but Brogdon has looked bad, man. This guy can't even stay healthy with the Pacers. I don't know. I don't want to touch Brogdon with a 10-foot pole. I just don't want to bring in a guy who I don't know if is healthy. Oh, one other thing, guys. Jalen Brunson, pretty healthy. Something to think about. And just, you got to think about who's out there. And if you pay a guy, whether or not he's signed on a new contract or he's already got his contract, the guy better be out there playing. Because the one thing about these Knicks, over the years, we've had a lot of bad injury-prone players at positions. Rose and the bigs. Mitchell Robinson actually, to his credit, has been fairly healthy this year. He was only injured for a short spell, and he's been pretty good. And he's been playing injured. So I think we need to look at players who will actually be out there on the court.
That's true. I agree wholeheartedly.
And Brogdon, to your point, Ron, he's a great player, yes, in the times that we see him on the floor. But will he be on the floor? I mean, it's like Nerlens Noel. I can't even say that he's a great player, but he's never on the floor. Well, you know, me being a Bulls fan, I love Lonzo Ball, but he's hurt. He's hurt too much, man. I mean, you know, I have a big time arguments with guys about that. So I just say with Brogdon, that's a toss up, man. You know, and then looking at the money, you know, when you're looking at an injury prone player like that, you know, the salary is really what comes into play here. So I'm not sure about that. I mean, it's a toss up. I mean, Brogdon in the case. I mean, Jalen Brunson, he has been relatively healthy. He's showing more to me. He's showing more durability, and I really believe, Ron, that Brunson, if somebody gave him a chance to run a team, his assists would really come up, and I think he would be a better fit. Now, DeAngelo Russell, the only reason I'm not against Russell is just the fact that he's a little older. His contract, I don't know if we're going to be able to get Brunson for cheaper. I would think so. And then you're looking at, like you said, his size is what actually draws me to the attention of wanting him even more, and his defensive prowess. I think Brunson can be a decent defender. His size is what kind of keeps me off of it. But as far as Brogdon is concerned, to your take, Ron, as far as the money, I just don't see that one because of the injury issues. I just really don't.
Yeah. What do you think, Don P?
Yeah, I'm completely off from Brogdon. I'm with you. I don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. I'm cool on him. As far as Brunson goes, like I said, I never really been too high on any guard who's about 6'1", like even Kemba Walker. You know, in his prime, I didn't really want him on the Knicks, even before the injuries, because I never really seen him as a true point guard. You know, he was just a small guard who could get buckets. You know, does he get good assists? Yeah, you know, that's cool. But you could tell, you know, he was always hunting for his points. Not selfish, it's just that's his game.
Right.
I feel the same for Jalen Brunson. I think that, you know, who knows? Maybe he could get his assist up. I'm not gonna bag on him like that. I don't know him as well as I know Kemba Walker. You know, I don't know him as well as I know like other small guards like DJ Augustine. Y'all remember him? Fran VanVleet. You know, these guards. What I will say is that if you check out the scary teams in the NBA right now, you know, teams like the Raptors, I know they lost in the first round of the playoffs, but their team is incomplete. And they got scary length on their team. Their team is scary. Yes. Like, for real. Like, yeah, so like when we're talking about getting these or filling these positions up, we got to keep that in mind. We definitely got to keep that in mind. So when we get, you know, small guards, that's, you know, they better be a Chris Paul. They better be a Chris Paul. I don't need for my point guard to be a dog. I need for my wings to be dogs. I need for my centers to be dogs. I need for my power forwards to be dogs. But my point guard, I just need him to have a good IQ, and I need for him to orchestrate the offense in an efficient manner. That's all.
Yeah, no, I hear you with that. Salute to Finesseful J. The lottery gods owe us. I'm putting 10 on us getting Jaden Ivey in the draft. Hey, man, from your lips. Yo, man, I hope. That'd be great.
Will Tibbs play him, Ron? Will Tibbs play him?
Listen, let me tell you something. At some point, the Knicks organization has to step in and say, look, if we lucked out somehow, because, you know, the Knicks don't have a lot of luck, but if they luck out somehow and get a top 4 pick and they're able to get Jaden Ivey, that guy is going to have to – they're going to have to figure out a way to get this guy in the rotation. And if Tibbs ain't doing it, Tibbs is going to get that short leash. I'm telling you, at certain points, Dolan himself, because, you know, Dolan has basically stayed out of this, but Dolan, he's not stupid. He may not be the best at understanding basketball, but as far as what it is on paper, you telling me I get a top 4 pick and this kid has got skill and some talent and I don't see him out there on the court, even that Dolan will have to step in and say something to the front office, and the front office is going to put that heat on Tibbs to play that kid. Now, of course, the kid better know how to play. He can't be out there looking like he's a deer in headlights. But if he can play,
Question.
you got to
okay,
play.
Ron. Question to you, Ron. What was Obi's? What did Obi come out? What number?
Obi was drafted number 7, I believe. 8. I think he's 8. If I'm wrong, chat, let me know. But I think Obi was 8, right? Number 8.
The reason I asked that is because Tibbs didn't play him until he had to.
Yeah, no, it's true. But the other thing with Obi is this goes back to that whole thing. I don't know as much about Jaden Ivey on the defensive end, but I know the way he moves, his explosiveness, he's like a Ja Morant.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then guys like that, they may not be the best defensively, but they're quick and they can be active with their hands, so they affect things. Because Ja Morant's not a great defender either. But if he's able to do stuff out there and really be like a nuisance, on the offensive end, and he could stick his hands in the passing lanes and be a little effective there. He just has to show effort. That's one thing that Tibbs can't deny. And guys, you also know that, listen, we love Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose wasn't the best defender. And still isn't. So, but you saw how Tibbs used him because he was dynamic, explosive, and you can't deny his talent. So a guy like that, as long as the guy does what he does in practice and he's killing everybody in practice and they can't guard him, that guy will play. So if we were able to get Jaden Ivey, I think he would play.
Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to P. Citizen, Civilized in the chat. He says, Tibbs lost us 15 games due to stubbornness. Is that a true statement, guys?
I don't know if it was 15, but yeah, I would say, yeah, you're right. Be civilized. Salute to you as always, brother. And did I already say Lily Phillips? Salute to you. Yeah, I think he did lose us some games because of his stubbornness. If he had done things a little differently throughout the course of the season, we would have been in a better position to win some of the games that we lost. And maybe if he had just made a couple tweaks in the fourth quarter, we would have won 5 or 6 of those games easily that we lost in the fourth quarter where we had commanding leads. I definitely think we would have won those. So yeah, it's not far-fetched. I agree.
Yeah, I would say that I knew what Tibbs was trying to do. If you check out, his good run with the Bulls, I think that, that style was outdated. If he ran that same team with, MVP roles, Ronnie Brewer, Lou Aldine, Carlos Boozer, and Joe Canoa, if he ran that same team now with the same offensive scheme in today's NBA, I don't see them winning as many games as they did back then, because the pace is so much faster. So much faster than what it was back then. You know what I mean? So that's what he was trying to do with this Knicks team, to where he wanted to make Julius Randle that focal scoring option, while everybody else is staunch defenders. So that's why he put Alec Burks in the point, and trying to make everybody else be defensive stoppers. But we just didn't have the personnel for it. Even if we did, that style of basketball it's outdated. It's too slow. In today's NBA, it's just too slow. It's too slow. So I don't trust Tibbs when it comes to running a fast offense. Has he won games with it? We all seen that he has, but I don't think that he prefers that.
Yeah. Okay. So in your take in that sense, Don P, you saying one of them has to go, being Obi or Randall. Do you see Obi leaving?
Do I see Obi leaving?
Yeah, because you said Tibbs is conducive to the slow pace.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. That's the conflict that I'm having right now, because Tibbs is more comfortable with Julius' style of play.
Yep.
More of a slower thing and get you buckets on the ISO. That's essentially what Derrick Rose did. He wasn't running like too many pick and rolls with Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was just left to do whatever he want with his talent back when he was in his MVP days, off of isolations, strictly off of isolations. So to answer your question, I think that if Tibbs had his way, Obi will be gone. if Thibs had his way, Obi would be gone. You know what I mean? If somebody doesn't fit his system, yeah, they'll be gone. So, but Thibs don't have his way. So I don't know. If Thibs
And
had his
I'm with
way,
Ron. I'm with Ron. I think they're going to keep. I think they're going to keep them both.
I hope so. I
Most
mean,
likely.
I see. My thing is just how many minutes is Obi gonna get?
You're right.
That's the question. Because the agent is not gonna take getting 15, 16 minutes lying down. They're gonna have something to say about that. So what's gonna happen? So that's the ultimate question right there. And the Knicks fan base is kind of split between Obi and Julius Randle. So I don't know.
And to answer your question, Marvin, Obi's not going to leave because we still got Obi under his rookie contract for another 2 years. Well, this year and I think the next year. So we don't got to really worry about him doing anything. And if anything, we'll make a decision as to what we're doing as an organization before it's time for him to be out of here. So I don't think we got to worry about that too much. I think that what we should worry about. Hold on, before I move on to that, let me see here. I just missed it. Sherwin said, "What team that is remaining runs a fast offense?" You mean remaining in the playoffs? Golden State Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Phoenix pace is pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah, Phoenix pace is pretty quick too. I would say Golden State and Memphis move faster, like they're very up and down. And maybe Phoenix. I would think that would be pretty much it. If just off the top
rest
of my
of them are defensive oriented teams like Milwaukee, Miami, Philly. It's not really a fast pace.
Let me see. Salute, Andy. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. He says, my question, if Obi gets you a starting point guard in a trade, you do the deal or rather go in the next season with what we got on the roster, which means Burke starting? No, of course. That's the thing. If Obi is going to get me a starting point guard, then I'm going to have to trade Obi. I don't want to because then that means I'm stuck with Randall. But I think the Knicks are going to be stuck with Randall anyway. So it's kind of like it sucks. But I think you go with whatever you can get. Now, just because Obi can get me that point guard, that doesn't mean I would trade Obi first off. I would try to do something else and change the trade around and send them some different pieces first. But if we settled and all they want is Obi and something else to make it happen, sayonara Obi.
You did read the end of that. You did read the end of that comment by Andy, and that means stand with Burks.
Yeah.
Danny Granger.
He kind of threw that one in on the slide at the end there, Andy. I caught that, Andy.
Yeah, I see what he did there. I don't think Alec Burks is going to be on this team next year. And not that he doesn't deserve to be, because, Alec Burks has done nothing wrong. And Alex Burks is still a serviceable player in the NBA. I just think the front office may know we got to get Alec Burks out of here so that we can get this team looking a little different. Because if we leave Alec Burks here, Tibbs is going to figure out a way to use him more than he needs to be used.
That's a fact.
He might be a casualty of a situation that he doesn't deserve, but I think that's what's going to happen.
That's a fact. And he's expendable too. We got
he is.
We got Evan Fournier, we got RJ Barrett, who I think should exclusively be at the 2. He's expendable.
Yeah. And to Sherman in the chat, he writes, Miami, 76ers, Phoenix, and Dallas, do they run a fast offense? I think Miami and 76ers and Dallas are more defensive-oriented teams. They would run more of a mid-pace offense, not a real fast pace. Phoenix is more athletic, and I think they run a little quicker. So in Miami, 76ers, and Dallas, I think no, but Phoenix maybe.
Yeah, and I also think that Dallas ran a faster-paced offense when they had their guys healthy, when they had Hardaway and other people that have been hurt for them healthier, they ran a faster offense. I think their offense has slowed down since those guys got hurt. And I think Luka doesn't really push the pace too much. And he doesn't really need to, because he kills you with no matter what he does on the court. Whether he wants to go outside, inside, mid-range, he just destroys these teams. So it don't matter.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on real quick is, guys, are we at the point where now the Zion dream is over?
I was always against Zion. I don't trust him. I don't.
Okay.
I do not trust that dude. It's cool that he actually wants to come to New York. I like to hear that, but nah. Homies, he's only 6'6". I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marvin.
No, go ahead and finish, guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, the dude is only he's 6'6", so he's undersized in his position, whether you're talking about a 3 or a 4. You know what I mean? He's undersized for his position, and in order for him to be effective, he has to explode all the time. He needs to explode all the time. You take an ounce of his athleticism out of the picture with the injuries that he's having, how effective would that dude be? We don't know. He's not LeBron. He has underrated playmaking skills. He can pass and all of that. I'm quite aware of that, but he's not no LeBron. You know what I mean? Like he's no Iron Man. So I don't know. I don't trust Zion. I don't want him. I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole neither.
I hear you. And Pudge Nice, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Pete, you know how I give it up for you, man. I appreciate you, brother. Marvin, go ahead, man. What's your take on the Zion pipe dream to the New York Knicks?
Well, inside knowledge, just a little bit, guys, because I speak with a lot of Pelican fans, and I've actually did a couple of shows on their panel over there at PP at the post game Pelican report. Now, I don't know, guys. I'm like this. I mean, Zion, come on, guys. Now, we've seen the numbers that he can put up. We all seen it. We've seen what he can do on the floor.
Right.
New York is the largest market, and Zion wants the bright lights. He wants it. Now, I'm kind of up in the air with this because of his dedication. Did he actually gain this weight because he was upset with the Pelicans organization? Is he a crybaby? Will he be okay? But you cannot sit back and don't think he wouldn't put fans in the seats. He's a talent, guys. And is he a generational talent? I don't know to say that, but in the time that we've seen him, he definitely showed that. So it's hard to pass on something like that, guys. Now, what you have to give up for him, that's the difference. I'm not even worried if he comes how well T would mesh with Tibbs, because Tibbs would just have to let him play. But what you're going to give up for him is the difference to me. I mean, because
how much money
I know
is he
nobody wants to hear this. Well, the deal is this. I know nobody's going to want to hear this, but the Pelicans are going to want RJ. I'm telling you now. That's who they're going to want. Are you willing to give RJ up to get him? I just don't see it. I believe that's a risk that, given the fact of where the Knicks are in their organization and trying to win now, is that a risk you take? So I'm up in the air. I'm not going to say yay or nay, but I'm going to say it on both sides. I can't shy away from a talent like that, but I can't be so yes on it because I'm unsure and of what you want in return. So in my eyes, I say it's a 50-50, and that depends on who they're asking in return.
Okay.
I got a question. So what you think his natural weight is? Zion Williamson's his natural weight.
His natural weight?
I don't know, man. Maybe around 270, 280.
And how hard do you think it would be to maintain that? Because it's not like we can't ask him to lose 50 pounds and him be, 220, 230, then he wouldn't be Zion no more. You know what I mean? It's this unique body structure that makes him who he is, but how hard is it to maintain that? That's the question.
I think he would be a Charles Barkley at 245, 250, and great.
See, I feel like he was 245, 250 because that was LeBron weight in LeBron's prime. Of course, LeBron's a taller player, 6'9", whatever. But I feel like Zion probably maybe I'm a little wrong. I think maybe his playing weight, his natural weight is somewhere in between 250, 260. But I think you saw more of the 240 range around there when he was in high school, which is crazy. But I think he has, when he was hurt, he ballooned up close to 280, 290. I don't know if he was at 300. I don't know. But I know he's gotten in shape since then. He looks in much better shape now. I don't know what that weight looks like. But that's the problem. When you have to constantly get yourself back down in weight going into every season, because he's going to put on weight in the off season. It's just natural.
Right.
Yeah.
That is
and
tough
to
deal with.
JJ
that's another knock.
Right.
And to JJ in the chat, he was saying that the Pelicans wouldn't want RJ because they have Ingram and McCollum. I understand that, but I believe they would do that to be able to move RJ to get another piece once they got him. See, I mean, you have to think down the line on this. If you're going to move,
I don't mean to cut you off, Marvin, but I think that's where the dream stops. The Knicks are not trading RJ for Zion.
No, they're not going to. But the reason
that's not the point of bringing Zion here is for him to be with RJ. So you don't do that. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and the reason I was bringing it up is because, just like I said, I didn't think it was a realistic thing going to happen because I'm guaranteeing you the Pelicans are going to do that intentionally, and you can't fault them, guys. I mean, you're not giving Zion up for nothing. You're going to want basically the best player on the other team that you're giving him to. So I think it would be a lost cause. I'm not saying it can happen, but all right, here's my question then, Ron. If Zion's coming and we're not giving up RJ, then who would they take? Would they take Randall? Would they take Mitch? I mean, who would they take?
I don't know if they would want to see Randall over there again. I'm not sure about that. But I tell you one thing, it would have to be something where Obi might have to go, and you might have to, you'd have to throw in. And I don't know how that works because I know Cam had some particular trade restrictions where you couldn't put him in a trade with other people. I don't know if that's been lifted now, but like Cam might have to go. Grimes might have to go.
Yeah.
Picks would have to go. Like it ain't gonna be cheap.
Because they don't value RJ like how we value RJ. That's the thing. That's what I was trying to say in another space where we value a lot of Knicks fans. RJ's a Knick. He's a Knick favorite, but other teams don't look at RJ how we look at RJ. So if they would,
I don't know about that one, D. I don't know about that one. I heard a lot of people. Listen, the league is high on RJ. The league is high on RJ because they see his upside. So it might not be in your eyes that other teams don't value him, but I'm telling you, there's some teams out there that would love to have some RJ.
I mean, and it's that for the RJ saving grace is always going to be his age. I still can't believe the kid is only 21. If it wasn't for the fact that he was so young, then maybe you'd be like, I don't know about this guy. But the fact that he's only 21 really helps him.
I just think that they'd be willing to trade. Like if they would trade Zion, they would want us to give up RJ, Obi, Cam, and like
they're trying to take the house, guys. They would.
They definitely would. And I'm telling you, the Knicks would have to wind up. The trade would be a fair trade if Zion was healthy. But if Zion is not healthy, oh man, it would be so bad to make that move because it would.
That's what I'm saying. And is it time for the Knicks to make a risk move like that? I don't think it's time.
So let me ask y'all something. Even if Zion was healthy, do y'all still trust him with the money?
He's healthy?
Oh, yes.
Here's the thing. If he's healthy and can stay healthy, then I'd do that trade in a heartbeat. I'll figure out a way to move guys to get Zion here. It's just all about can he stay healthy because even if he balloons, right? Say he comes into next season at 250 pounds, and that looks good on him. That works for him. And then in between that time, over the next 3 years, he balloons up to 270. If he can stay healthy, I'm still okay with that. As long as he can stay healthy, because he can figure out a way to play. He's so explosive leaping that even if he loses a notch, he'll still be able to use that. And that's his key. The problem is if he can't maintain the weight on his legs and his ankles, and he keeps getting hurt, and he's still ballooning in weight, he's not going to be able to support that, and he's going to lose explosiveness. It's too many negatives to one player. That's what I worry about. Because and JJ made a good point. Someone else said it in the chat. Zion don't defend or rebound and isn't a shooter. He's not a good shooter. Can he rebound? Yeah, because his explosiveness. He can grab rebounds. Can he defend? He's not the most skilled defender, but his leaping ability allows him to block shots, and he's very aggressive. It's not ideal, but offensively, he's a load. He's hard to stop, and that is the saving grace for him. If you get him out there healthy, if he plays 72 games out of an 82-game season, you got something special. You know Zion's going to put up some numbers.
Yes, sir. And shout out to Paris Duggar, who writes, trade RJ for Fred VanVleet. Is that realistic, guys?
I wouldn't do it.
What was the question again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Trade RJ for Fred VanVleet.
RJ for who?
Fred VanVleet.
Oh, nah. Heck no. Nah. I'm not even that big on RJ, but nah.
And I wouldn't do it, guys, because Fred VanVleet has an issue with his knee, right? It crept up this year. He's missed several games here and there. And then when he did play around those times, it affected his shot and it affected his explosiveness. Knee issues are a problem. And unless you get that stuff cleaned out and taken care of, which he may do in the offseason, you don't know what you're going to get from Fred VanVleet. And I just don't trust him. I watched him be very inconsistent at certain points throughout the season.
That's Kemba all over again. I don't know. That's Kemba Walker all over again. Nah. I don't trust him.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there an echo, guy?
Yeah. It's going. I don't hear it now, but I did hear it before.
I think it's me. I'm gonna step out and then come back in. I got a phone call, so I think it messed up my mic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No problem.
In my eyes, Ryan, I don't know about that one either. I think you're diminishing both teams, to be exact. Were you actually helping the Knicks if you get Fred? But is he going to stay healthy? That's for one. And then on the Raptors, you're taking away their point guard. So I don't know how realistic that trade would go through. I mean, it's a good thought, but I'm not sure about it. But back to the Zion thing, I think, man, listen, you know now, Ron, Zion is eye candy. You know that. You know what he would do for New York. You know that. And then the times that we've seen him on the court, he's dynamic. But the only I've told this to a lot of people who mention this, and I say it over again, they're gonna want the house for him, man. They're gonna strip you bare naked to get him. And then you got worries on your mind. Come on, Zion, please be healthy. Well, you want to be the Lakers? If you want to be the Lakers, kind of think of that. The Lakers stripped their team completely down, and look where they are now with no draft picks and whatnot. So I think the route would be to be realistic things that are coming in play. I mean, you're going to have to make some kind of take a chance here and there with somebody. But I really want to stress this and say this. I know a lot of Knicks fans are counting on the draft for a point guard. I really want to ask you and all the chat and all the Knicks fans, is it realistic that if the Knicks get a good young point guard, will Tibbs play him? That's the key.
Not. Of course not. Absolutely not. I don't even think this draft is worth. That's the question I want to ask you guys. Should we trade our pick? I mean, we're 11th place in the draft. There's no person really that's like super eye candy to us right now. This draft is recognized as one of the weakest drafts. Why not trade the pick? We have a lot of young players on the team already. Why add another young piece on there who we know is not going to get any playing time, especially on the pick?
Yeah, now, when you say trade the pick, what are you looking for in return?
Well, I mean, a pick to sweeten up a deal for something that we need. I mean, we have players like Nerlens Noel in the fold. We have some of us want to get rid of Randall. We need a point guard. I mean, it's just to sweeten the pot. I mean, is it really going to hurt us if we get rid of the pick? Because there's no, like, we're at 11th place in the draft right now, and
it's not going to be a top point guard.
We don't get no different speakers over there.
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me because, in my eyes, I think the Knicks' journey should be veteran point guard. As a matter of fact, with Tibbs at the helm, we all know it's going to be veterans, guys. It's going to be veterans. It's just what it's going to be. So if you're going to build this team while Tibbs is here, you might as well dress just like Ron said earlier on the show. I mean, Tibbs hasn't really been given the pieces that he probably felt would work the best. So you try to give him the pieces, and then if it doesn't work, we all know it's his fault. Like Ron says, I think you address the issues, the needs of what that fits your coach best, and you go from there.
Yeah, I think there's a high possibility that the Knicks trade this pick, guys. I think there's two choices. One, the Knicks can play Russian roulette and trade the pick before the lottery is revealed, like before we know what we're getting. And they might be able to luck up doing something that way. The flip side is they could wait till the lottery is done and we know exactly where we're picking and then trade the pick at that point because, we can assume that they'll trade the pick, use it as a way to get a better asset, right? The other thing is the Knicks could also trade that pick for a pick in next year's draft, just to have another pick in that draft because we think that the player pool is going to be so great compared to this year.
I'm for that 100%. Now, if had you asked me that in the 2015 draft, I'd have been like, no. But had you asked me that in the 2013 draft where Nerlens Noel was considered to be, I think, a number one pick at the time. It was Nerlens Noel, Ben McLemore. Giannis wasn't even considered. I think he was chosen in a late first round or second round.
He wasn't Giannis then.
Yeah, I think that was one of the weakest drafts in the NBA. It was only a few players that actually produced over there. Giannis being the number one, of course. So had you asked me that in 2013, I would have told you trade the pick. Trade the pick. It's a weak draft class. Like, trade it.
Right.
I think in the Knicks' current situation, the best route would be to trade the pick, package him up with something else to get exactly what you need. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but I believe that would be the most realistic thing to do.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, that most likely the Knicks, because of their own curiosity, and I don't think they want to trade a pick before the lottery and then wind up getting a top 4 pick, and they're going to be sick if some other team gets that pick.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I think they'll wait and to find out what the lottery shows out, and then they will probably move the pick because, guys, unfortunately, as much as we love young talent and the possibility of getting a diamond in the rough, I think the Knicks team, the organization, says we have a lot of young talent on this team. And at some point, you got to start getting some NBA-ready players who have played in the league or veterans that are, at a good age that can help you. And I think they're at that point where they're ready to bring in some of those guys and take this team to the next level. That's what I think. I just think we got a lot of young talent, even some talent we still haven't even had a good chance to look at, like as far as Deuce. And then we still got young talent as far as Cam that hasn't had a chance to really play here. I think we got a lot of young talent. And don't forget,
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I do. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Bad. Sorry to cut you off.
No, and I'm just saying, like, the other thing is, don't forget, the more people you bring in here, you got to figure out a way to play them. That's with any coach, let alone Tibbs. So I just think that they might be like, we can't keep bringing in these young guys that we have to develop because we still haven't properly developed all the young pieces we got now. We got to let these guys get it cracking, and we can see what we got with them. Let's go out and build and bring in some players that can help the team now. So I think that's what they're going to do. Plus, I think that at some point, look, if you look at the Knicks players, there's not a lot of high IQ guys on this team. Got to bring in some high IQ guys that have been in the league and know how to play basketball. So I think they're probably going to move that pick.
Now, is Brunson that high IQ guy for you, Ron?
I think he is. And I think Brunson is a very feisty young, still young, because I think he's 25. What Brunson has is a chip on his shoulder. Because what I saw him doing last night, I know he could be a little aggressive, but the way he was playing last night, I mean, this dude was trying to go through Chris Paul.
Yeah, he was.
Guys like that, they may not be ideal, but it's somebody you got to look at. But I'm still holding out on that price tag. If we like you and it looks like a good connection, we'll bring your father in. We want that homeboy discount. You ain't giving us the homeboy discount, then take your chances.
Well, okay, now Ron, have we suffered enough by trying to get the bare minimum? Is it time? Ron, to go ahead and just say forget it? Listen, you cannot afford to miss on a point guard again, Ron. You cannot. That can't happen. So, are you going to try to fundle with this? Or are you just going to go ahead and say, hey, listen, we need this piece. Hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, at least we address the issue. We try to address what we really needed. And I believe the route, considering how long we've been needing a point guard, how long it's been without a point guard, I don't think it's nothing to play with. If it's something out there, and then when you say price tag, I want to ask you that, Ron. What price tag? Because I'm kind of blown. I don't understand. How much money do you think Brunson's gonna want?
Well, the prognosticators have said, and first off, salute to Chuck, Knicks for Life. I appreciate you. Thank you as always, brother. Guys, if you haven't already, if you're not familiar, Chuck is on a show called Vibes and Stuff with Uncle Freezy. They talk about real life stuff. It's just get you up in the morning and just talk about stuff, get you through your day. You're working out or you're just working, you're at the office, you want to listen to some good conversation about life and different things. Chuck and Uncle Freezy have put together, they're both on Vibes and Stuff, so definitely check that out. It's called Vibes and Stuff. If you don't already know, check them out. Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate you. And also, before I get to what you were saying, Marvin, I also want to salute to my man Project Nerd HQ, my man Heck. You know him from the For the Love of the Game podcast, but Heck is also doing something great news. He's going to have a morning show revolving around the Yankees and other MLB teams. Heck, what's the name of the show? It's Yankee something? I forgot already. I'm my fault, brother. But it's Yankee something. Put that in the chat, Heck. But definitely, guys, salute to him. Check him out in his new effort as well. He's into baseball as well as other things. So this is going to be a great move for him. And I want you to definitely check him out as well. He'll be in the mornings as well. I don't know what days yet, but he's going to be talking about Yankees and other MLB teams. So it's people are making moves. So let's salute and definitely big them up and support. So to what I was just talking about, I think that
which was I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to remind you, but if go ahead.
Yeah, no. Please do, because I think I'm about to forget.
Well, I know because it was a little, with a little pause in there. what I was saying is it time to go ahead and stop funneling around with
I got it. Yeah, I remember. So what I was saying was the prognosticators have kind of put the early value out there and said that Jalen Brunson's price tag may now be somewhere in between 20 and 25 million.
Wow.
That is a lot of ching, folks. And as much as I like the little grit that Brunson brings, and the fact that I know that when he is called upon to score, he can get buckets, I don't know about that price tag. And
now, does that price tag, does that determine on how many years you sign it? And I think it does.
Well, it does, but even that, like, if you're going to tell me, because if his price tag really is upwards around 25 million, so that means, to be fair, you're talking 23 to 25 to get him. If that is the case, I'd rather blow things up a little bit and go get me a star. Like, you're going to be paying somebody that money and he's not even a number one star type player. I'd rather you trade me some of these good pieces we got and go get me a guy. I'd rather you say, listen, we're going to go get DeJounte Murray or this guy, and we're going to give them whatever they want. I hope that doesn't mean RJ, but I'd rather do that and then say, you know what, we take another year to kind of put some pieces around, see what happens in the 2023 draft, get some guys, if we can hold on to that draft pick, and figure out a way to build again. Because I don't want to just throw money at somebody who I think is better than what we got at that tag. That's a tough tag. So
yeah. But now, saying that, Ron, okay, so where do we go? I mean, if you're trying to get a top point guard, you're gonna have to pay for it. You're gonna have to pay for it. If you want to go lower than that, then you go down a tier to get a point guard. And who is that? And what is the most that you would want to pay for a point guard right now?
Okay. One, salute to Dripmore, my dude. Please subscribe to his barber channel. Salute Dripmore, man. Doing your thing, man. Appreciate you, bro. Always. Salute to everybody who's doing content and has a craft and does what they do, man. We got to support everybody, man. Salute to you, bro.
Yes, salute.
And thank you. Heck put it in the chat. It's called Yankees Morning Brew. And you can catch that on the Knights of Deegan channel, affiliated with FCF, Fan Control Football League. Appreciate you. Oh, what? I didn't have to read that part. But thank you, Heck. So, guys, it's called Yankees Morning Brew. If you type in Knights of Deegan on YouTube, the show is going to air on their channel, but it'll be Heck in the mornings doing his thing, talking about Yankees and other MLB teams. And maybe if I ever have some free time during the morning, I'll jump on and talk about my Mets. So, Marvin, to your question, I don't know what's a good – I will tell you that as much as people hate giving someone who is an unknown star 15 to 18 million, I think that's fair for a player who's going to be on a New York team in the New York market. There's a lot, taxes get taken out here. That is not a lot of money in these parts. So I think 15 to 18 million is a fair number for a starting point guard who is not a superstar level.
Yeah. And you honestly believe that you don't need that superstar at point guard to get this team over the top?
Yeah, I don't think you need a superstar as long as you have an adequate point guard who knows how to be a point guard. You can, focus on getting the other pieces to round out your team. We've talked about it all year. We know we need a defensive wing player. We've struggled to kind of figure out who's going to be that guy. And as much as we love Grimes is not a defensive wing. He's a shooting guard, and he's small. He's like 6'4". So we need that. And we also need a stretch big. And we need to make a decision on how we change our situation with our bigs, because we got three of the same guy. So one of those guys got to go. And if we can get another complimentary player who is a good scorer, fine. Yeah, but I think those are the key pieces: a stretch big, a 3-and-D wing type player, and a point guard. I think that's all we need to be an improvement over what you saw last year.
So obviously, Donovan Mitchell, Brogdon, Dame, they're out of the picture for you.
I think so. I don't think. I think we can get Donovan Mitchell. But I don't think we would want to give up what it takes to get Donovan Mitchell. We could throw the whole farm at Donovan Mitchell, and we might be able to pull it off. But what you're left with won't make a lot of sense because Danny Ainge is going to fleece whoever comes after them, unless it's a package, where you're sending back a star. Like if if he deals with the Clippers and they're giving him Paul George for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. What were you going to say, Marvin?
No, I was just saying I agree. I don't think that Danny Ainge, Danny Ainge is a businessman. He's gonna get all he can get for him. And then when you're thinking of Donovan Mitchell, you got to remember that salary. And is he a superstar? I wouldn't put him at superstar level right now. Is he a true point guard? That's kind of unsure. So I understand what you said. I want to keep going back to Brunson only because I think he's a perfect fit for the Knicks. I think his demeanor, I think his own ball intensity, I think he can handle the pressure of New York. And I think you can build, but that money, that salary, it's hard. But you're not going to get real good talent without paying for it. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's been the Knicks have let quite a few point guards slip past them, man. And I don't think this year is a good time to let another one get by. So I think they really need to address their point guard issue. And I did want to ask you this, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
I just read something in the chat. I can't remember who it was. They said something about that Mitch has 2 more weeks to determine if he wants to trade. After all this talk that me and you've been going through now, does that predicate everything that the Knicks are going to do this year, if they're going to trade Mitch or not?
That's interesting. I'd have to look into that. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. So Paris Douglas said you're right. So wow, that's interesting. So that's tough. That definitely puts the Knicks behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
And what Pete Panagiotopoulos says is that when Mitchell loses a little of his athletic ability, he will be another Kimba, in his opinion. And that is not far-fetched because, remember, that's what he relies on because he doesn't have the offensive skill set to do anything other than, rely on his athleticism.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's another thing you got to think of when you're about to pay somebody big money to stay here. The other thing is, honestly, I don't know what big money is when it comes to Mitch, guys. The Knicks tried to fleece Mitch. Okay, they played him early. They didn't give him something to kind of, wet his beak, if you will, and keep him happy. And then they sent him an offer that was peanuts. If Mitch would take, something that's fairly decent, I don't know what fairly decent is. So I don't want to throw out numbers. I don't know 12 million, 13 million per year. I don't know what's fairly decent for a guy with his skill set at his age in the league as a big. Because I've seen crazy contracts like the one Rudy Gobert has. So I don't know. But I will say that, they might offer him something which is not a slap in the face. It's better than what they offered him before. He may take it. And we may not have to worry about this. And maybe the contract is favorable. We'll see.
Well, I'll tell you this, Ron. I don't disagree with you. But kind of knowing how NBA organizations are run, the Knicks would do best offering him something decent because reason being, if they don't, another team is going to step in and raise that offer.
Right.
And Mitch is going to take it. And here's the deal. If you start low, the next team can come in just a little bit higher, which means they're going to end up getting the deal. Then it's going to be a war. The Knicks going to try to match. Then they're going to come up with something else. So I would say I don't want to go overboard, but you have to start up. You cannot try to fleece him because if you do, another team is going to come in and offer a little bit more. Now, anything more that the Knicks offer is better for Mitch. So you're going to end up losing him for little of nothing. Now, you don't want to overbid on him also. You don't want to go too high. But I don't think you should start low. Because if you do, then you can rest assured. And I didn't tell you, my Bulls, they want it. And if you start low, I'm just telling you. I mean, that's just an obvious thing. You can, in Mitch's case, I don't think it's a great move to start low with him. And they tried this earlier. You just said they tried to fleece him.
Oh no, they can't start low anymore. They already he felt cheated in that regard. So I think they know they better come with a decent offer.
That's right, man. So
and,
I mean,
not to cut you off, but I am cutting you off. I apologize. The other thing you got to take into account, which not only is going to be, coming from them, but the rest of the teams around the league who are interested. 2023, when the new TV contract goes into effect, all the salaries, for teams, ownership, the money's going to go up. So that's more revenue. And these players know. Yeah.
And to JJ in the chat, he says, Bulls have Vooch. Why would they want Mitch? They want Vooch is a 4. They plan him at a 5, and they want Mitch to be that 5. That would be the reason. But I really believe, I mentioned this earlier before we started this, got deep into this conversation. I don't believe everything is predicated on signing Mitch, but I believe if it's true that he can either be demand a trade in 2 weeks, then this is key, because this really does give you a understanding of what the way the Knicks probably going to try to go with this thing. I know the most need to me is point guard, but you still have to address their center position. You really do. And losing Mitch and then trying to go in the season with Nerlens Noel and Sims, I don't know if that's good enough, but if you upgrade in other areas to a certain extent, I guess you could. I ain't gonna say you can get by with it, but that's taking a chance also,
Yeah, no, that is not the move. Salute to Ninja Dude. Appreciate you. Good to see you. What's going on, my man Hinton? Salute, brother. Yeah, I don't want to go into next season with Nerlens Noel and Jericho Sims. To me, that's like going into next season with Jericho Sims, because I don't expect Nerlens Noel to do anything for this team anymore.
You just don't trust the guy, huh?
Yeah, at a certain point, man, you just got to look at the basketball acumen, look at the health issues. Come on, man. Let's be smarter about this. This team, all right, it's one thing. I will say the Knicks were a struggling franchise at a lot of different points. And what we had when we first got Julius here, that team was bananas, man. We had some wild stuff over there. Because the year prior to that, I don't know if Clee Anthony Early was still here, or we had some wild players on this team. And that wasn't a good look. We've gotten better. We got to keep getting better. At this point, you can't go backwards. You got to, sometimes you say, let's take 2 steps back and I think the Knicks at the point where we got to keep going forward now. So, let's move on.
Has Nerlens, a question to you, Ron, has Nerlens, now I know he embettered himself as far as financially, but does he have the Knicks kind of in a debacle here? Will anybody take that contract?
No. I think they're fine. It's not a debacle because they made a poor judgment to give this guy. They rewarded him for what he did for the team, which is kudos to them. Maybe it was too much of a reward, but they rewarded him for his blood, sweat, and tears and how he played up until that playoff stretch. And it backfired because he can't stay healthy. And then so you got to say either we eat this money and get him off the team totally and just eat the bread, or we look to acquire, make a trade with a team where we want a guy that they got. They don't want to give that guy up, but we talk to them and say, look, we want this guy. We know you don't want to give him up, but we'll give you this, so that'll appease you. And then we know you got this guy in your team who is making X amount of dollars that you would love to get off your cap. We'll take that, but we'll give you Nerlens back. He doesn't make the same amount of money that this guy makes. He makes less, but we want him off our team. You take him. We'll take more of the load, and we'll help you out. That's how the Knicks going to have to wheel and deal in order to make, do with the mistakes they've made and get these guys off the team. They're going to have to do the same thing most likely with Kemba, unless they decide to just cut Kemba outright and eat the money, because Kemba makes the lowest out of these guys, because Nerlens makes a little bit more, closer to 10. Burks makes 10, but Kemba, if I'm not mistaken, makes around 8. So if you're going to eat somebody's salary for a year, Kemba's the probably the cheapest option.
Yeah. And to Sherman in the chat, he writes, the Knicks have 3 championship pieces, and he's on. I'm only getting rid of them for better players, meaning Mitch, Randall, and RJ. Do you believe that's your foundation, and do you build around those 3? Mitch, Randall, and RJ.
Not without a point guard.
But that's what I mean. I believe what he's saying is that that's your that's your beginning, and then you add the point guard.
He's right. Yeah, I mean, he's right. I just, not without a point guard, they can't keep going in with that mix in the same way.
And does Mitch's name deserve to be in that?
For the Knicks right now, yeah, unless something were to happen. Because one thing we'll know, because if the deadline is what it is, if Mitch has until June 30th to make his decision, if that's the case, as to what he wants to do, trade-wise or whatever, I don't know. Then I think the lottery picking, the drawing happens prior to that point. So the Knicks will know where they pick. And if the Knicks somehow get a top 4 pick, then they can decide to say, listen, there's some bigs out there that if we have to take one, we can take one. Mitch, sorry, sayonara. That may put them in that position. So the lottery is important too to Mitch and what his fate is with the Knicks. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I just think that the Knicks are going to definitely need to look at this very smartly. And this is where that guy that they brought in from Minnesota, whatever his role is, I think he has a lot to do with this. Gerson or whatever. They better have some smart sessions where they put together, their brain trust and come up with some good ideas about how this team needs to move forward and what they're going to do with these contracts and how they're going to deal delicately with RJ. Because let's not forget, they're going to have to deal with RJ, and they better get it right.
Right. And to JJ in the chat, he's mentioned this a couple of times about the young center that's coming out, Mark Williams. Now, I just want to address him and say this. We just talked about Tibbs playing young players. Now, if you're going to let Mitch go and bring in Mark Williams, then you're going to end up with Sims and Williams, 2 young players. Are you really believing that that's going to work with Tibbs? I'm not saying it wouldn't, but I just don't see Tibbs being okay with that, with 2 young centers. And in your case, I even read in the chat also that Nerlens is a decent player if he's not injured. Would he be okay with those 3 there, if you're going to let Mitch walk?
I don't know.
The only thing that I'm saying on that is because you bring in another young guy, and you still got Tibbs.
Cully's right though. He said it. If Mitch is gone, he will be starting Nerlens Noel because he ain't gonna depend on Jericho Sims just yet. And a healthy Nerlens Noel is a decent basketball player. He's very good instincts, very good first step when it comes to his defensive play, and his timing on shots blocking is incredible, like I said. And he even is pretty good at getting steals too for a big guy. It's just that I don't trust him being healthy. I just can't see him. That frame is just too slight. I just can't see him putting together, and it's not like he has the best ankles. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, man.
one more thing before you go. I just wanted to say this. I just think everything is predicated to me on Tibbs. You really have to base on what you get, who you get in the draft, who you're going to bring in on your coach, because Tibbs is so stubborn that us as fans, we can really believe all we want, but who's to say Tibbs is going to believe that? You know, his rotations are his rotations, and if players are there that he's comfortable with, they're going to play, man. If Burks is on this team, you know he's going to play, Ron. You know he is. It's just what Tibbs does. So I believe really you have to base this on considering what Tibbs would do. And is that good or bad? Is yet to be seen, I guess. You know?
Yeah. I mean, listen. Yeah, JJ, I hear you. Mark Williams will give us rim protection, which Tibbs loves, so he could get good minutes from the jump. That's interesting. Someone to kind of look at. Definitely, I'll keep them in mind. And Pete, listen, I would clear out all the veterans, to be honest. Burks, Fournier, Randall, Noel, Taj, Kemba, bring in some better vets and draft smart, and we'll be on our way. That is not a bad idea either. It'd be better if a lot of them were falling off the books, but they're not. So a lot of this stuff would have to be trades. But there's a way you could finagle that, you know, if you're smart about it, you could bring in better pieces, high IQ guys that can help take this team in a different direction, and maybe, you know, not just high IQ, but smarter defensively. So, yeah, there's ways. I don't know if this Knick front office has the acumen to do it. We're gonna have to find out. And Cully said, if we get Mark Williams when there's all that athletic talent available, I'm gonna be pissed, and especially with the Knicks' love for centers. Yeah, there's guys that are a little ahead of Mark Williams, but we're just saying, like, I guess if we pick low and other options aren't available, Mark Williams is not a horrible choice. And he might give us something that we don't currently have. So it's something to look at. I hear you. I'm with you. Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. I have today rocked out way longer than I thought. I thought I'd be on here like an hour and a half, and I've done 3.5 hours. So
that'll never happen, Ron. You're too good. 3 hours and 36 minutes and running. How about that?
You know, it is what it is, man. I'll take it. You know, today was a good day. It's gloomy. The weather's bad. People aren't out in the streets really too much, and they're online listening to us talk about the Knicks and giving their takes in the chat. So I appreciate it, and I'm here to rock with you guys. Thank you to Don P for jumping on and joining me. Thank you to Marvin. I appreciate you, brother, for being here. Thank you to Jay Boogie, who was about to come in when I was playing this video, but then he bounced out. He was in the car. I could see him. Thank you, brother, for putting together a really dope song. I really like it. And as I tell you, that second verse going into that end is hitting for me, man. I like that. And I'm about to play it again, going out of here. So thank you, guys. Marvin, any final words?
Well, as always, Ryan, you know, I just want to say thanks, man. And, you know, I have a great time on your show, man. I appreciate the chat and the panel. I think we get great takes, and it's a great thing to be able to just share knowledge, man. And, you know, and just see what's out there, man, and be honest about our opinions, man, and be in an adult conversation. And being in an adult room with you is just awesome, man. You know, I love it, man. I'm here with you every Saturday if you allow me. And, hey, man, I think the sky's the limit, man, you know, and let's see what they get done, man. Hopefully they can get something rising up there in New York, man.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, bro. Thank you, Marvin, as always. Appreciate you. And before I get out, Pete P said the Durant kid has the most upside of any center. He's only 18, though, so he won't be the answer right away. He's 6'11", 250, still growing. You could be looking at 7 feet, 280 in a few years. That's a good point. I don't know if the Knicks want to take on another project when we already went through 4 years of Mitch to even get him to this point. That's the thing. I don't know. But, yeah, we'll see, man. Thank you guys, as always. Smash that like button, guys. If you could, hit that like button. I sometimes forget to tell you guys to hit that like button. People come in and out, and, you know, they're out of here, and I haven't said it to them. Definitely do that. Still pushing.
I had
still
a question.
Yeah.
I have one more question before you go when you finish, Ron.
Oh, yeah. Definitely still trying to get that subscriber level up. I think we're around 690. Tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend, man. Have them tune in to Still Knick Fans. We try to give you what you want, and we appreciate all the criticism and constructive criticism and takes that you guys offer. If there's anything you want to see or talk about, always feel free to comment. We'll try to accommodate everyone. Thank you guys. Couple other housekeeping things. One, stay tuned and look forward to the next Still Knick Fans show on Monday, the weekly, with myself, John, and my man No Way Jose. That's Monday night at 9 p.m. Then you'll see us again on the NBA Report on the Nothing But Knicks Network, which is on Thursday at 8 p.m. Also, if you guys haven't already, let me see if I can grab it, because I'm not quite sure if I can get it too quickly. But there's the Nothing But Knicks draft party that is taking place on June 23rd, if I'm not mistaken, and that's in Atlantic City at the Flagship Hotel. Definitely, tune in for that. That should be a fun time. I will be in attendance along with, the rest of the Nothing But Knicks crew who can make it. And that can be, tons of different people. Who knows? I don't know who's going to be there all this year. I know last year was pretty fun. I was able to meet Julito McCullum. That's when I first met him. We chop it up now. We're cool. So you never know. Chris the Entertainer was there. There was a lot of good people in the building. It was a real fun time. Guillermo from Legion of Knicks was there. So there's just a bunch of people you can expect to possibly see. So definitely tune into that. And it looks forward. I look forward to having a good time and meeting some people that I haven't met already, and just talking about Knick basketball. I can't find the link for it at the moment, but what I will do is I'll link Nothing But Knicks, and you guys can click on it, and you should be able to find it from there. But thank you once again for tuning in, and continue to support all the Nothing But Knicks content. You got Steph from the Queen's Court, aka Dope Soul Sports Talk. You've got Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, who's been kind of quiet. I haven't seen you that much lately, Josh. Also, let's not forget my man Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises, and the crossover show that him and Steph have. Of course, the Nothing But Knicks king himself, Mr. Simeon Russell, with all of the shows he puts together, pre-games, post-games, shoot-arounds, and other things that he puts together. So definitely salute to everybody. And Marvin, you said you had one more question before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a last shout out to I hadn't had a chance to speak with Eru over at Die Hard Knicks Fans. Just want to give a shout out to him. That's my buddy, man. We chop it up all the time, and just let him know if you give another show. I know he's been doing football lately. I've been kind of busy. I hadn't had a chance to speak with him, but I really cut for Eru. That's my buddy. But the question I had for you was 2 games today. Give me your winners. Celtics at Bucks, Grizzlies at Warriors.
I think the Bucks win today. It's their first home game. They're going to be excited to be in their building. I think it's going to be a tough game. The Celtics will have a chance to pull it out, but I think the Bucks will get that first game in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is the first game in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
it
is.
Series.
Yeah, both of these series are 1-1. So
right.
So
I think the Bucks will get this one, and then
Grizzlies Warriors.
Memphis, yeah, I think Golden State is going to come out crazy today, because I think Memphis is showing them that Golden State has their hands full with this team, and the way Memphis played them, in that last game, they were very physical, very tough, and I expect that the flip side is going to happen tonight. I think the Curry and Clay and Jordan Poole are going to feed off the energy in the building. And I think Draymond is going to be in his defensive bag tonight. So I think the Warriors get this one.
Yeah. And a shout out to Joel Embiid. Hell of a comeback, hell of a game he played yesterday, man. Happy he wasn't hurt that bad. You know, I appreciate all NBA teams. We all have our own teams, but these playoffs, I'm just like you, Ron was saying earlier, man, these playoffs are truly exciting. You know, remember that commercial that long time ago? It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Of course. I do remember that.
Much love, Ron. Appreciate you having me on, man.
No problem, man. As always, thank you, Marvin. Appreciate you. You know, if you're available next week and any other week, you're always welcome, man. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. Take care, Ron.
All right, man. Take it easy, brother. Well, guys, this has been another fun show. Thank you guys for holding it down with me. Like I said, continue to hit that like button on your way out. If you haven't already done so, tell a friend that tells a friend who tells another friend about us, man. We appreciate the, the salutes. We appreciate the subscribers and the likes. Thank you, guys. And once again, guys, you have a great rest of your Saturday. I know it's rainy out there on the East Coast. It's kind of dreary until but, you know, we got some NBA basketball at 3:30. And tomorrow is Mother's Day. Once again, salute to all the young mothers. You know, they put us here. Even the ones that aren't the greatest out there, guess what? They gave us life, and we can choose what we want to do with it. So thank you to them as well. So I appreciate you guys once again. Let's get up out of here. Let's hit it with another little, J Boogie flow, man, on the way out. Thank you, J Boogs. Salute to everybody. You take care. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Real life, real situation.
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You my sunshine.
Ain't no word bigger than mom's unless you're talking about God.
I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
This for all the mothers.
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You my sunshine. Through the clouds I see your smile. I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
This for your moms, my moms, they gave us all birth. I be the last, but blessed to say that I'm the first. The 9 months feel like years ago. My tears drop, my eyes face where heaven flows. Whoever thought I'd be seeing her from TV? No, I miss your beautiful smile when you see me like that's your child. Mom finally made it. Made it through all the ones you know that hated. You know the ones that said you had a bad child and couldn't see nothing good in my lifestyle. I'm feeling sorry for the things I did, like stealing candy out the store as a little kid. My first beat, you really taught me a lesson. But what it was, you really gave me a blessing. Punishment took away my TV. For 2 weeks, I couldn't have no company. Nobody can come over there.
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You my sunshine. Through the clouds I see your smile. I'm so proud to say that I'm your child. This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You my sunshine.
Every mother in the world.
Through the clouds I see your smile. I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
No more pain, no sorrow, she in a better place. Look in the mirror, reflected, I see my mom's face. My first step in my life after my last crawl. When Pops left, still showed me how to play ball. Showed me the difference from a dad and how to be a father. Martin Luther, your dreams and let nothing stop you. Ain't nobody more special than moms. Throughout your good and your bad, she gon' always be your mom. Gon' always love a child, gon' always bring a smile, gon' always bring your joy, gon' always girl or boy. Be a queen, I'm raised to be a king. Respectfully, then love your moms if you're feeling me. I almost shed a tear. What I mean, I know a spirit's in here. Hey, you love yours, I love mine. I got my head to the sky, then love your mom's while she living her life, alright? Right?
This is my life, my life, my life, my life. You my sunshine.
All the beautiful mothers.
I see your smile, and I'm so proud to say that I'm your child.
Appreciate them.
My life, my life, my life, my life. You my sunshine.
Appreciate them.
Your smile, I'm so proud.
Baby, I'll sacrifice everything for you. No matter the cost, you're worth the price. You're worth it because you are my life. I raised you, I pray I did it right. Through all your ups and downs, I'll never leave your side. For you, mama's always gonna fight. Sunshine, and you make me smile. I'm so proud, yeah, I'm so proud. Cause you are my life, my life, my life, my life. You're my sunshine.
Every day that your mom's is living, every day she breathing. Don't wait for that one day to celebrate her. Live her every day of the year. She's your sunshine,
Sunshine
all over the world.